Hi, everybody. Sorry about that. Okay, so I recorded a podcast this weekend, which means that I had to move my setup into the other room, just my laptop and my microphone. And I guess when I plugged my microphone back into the dock where literally everything is hooked into my computer, it was not plugged in all the way, and so OBS was not recognizing it because it wasn't even hooked up to the computer. And OBS will not recognize something if you plug it in after OBS has already booted up. So I had to turn the whole stream off and turn it back on. Sorry about that. We should be good now, though. That hasn't happened in a bit. Oh, look who's here. Hi, Ollie. I'm gonna dream about her listening to you talk because I love you. Aw, thank you, love. Are you still at work? Whoa. Anyway, I'm gonna redo my fucking intro. Welcome to law school, everybody. Anime law school. Huzzah! Bros are totally flooded. Oh no! I'm sorry, love. Well, I hope I can provide you with some lawyerly entertainment in your hour of need. Music is a bit loud. Is that better? I want you guys to still be able to hear the music. Although, wait, hold on. I wonder. Hang on. I need... It doesn't seem like the game audio is working with what you're saying. 1 second. Yep, that fucked up my audio ducking. Hold on. How about now? Are you... Oh, fuck. Just turn that down like this for now. Why is my shit not working? Whoa. Oh, there we go. Turn it off and turn it back on again. That's how we get the audio ducking to work. Here, it should go down when I'm talking. Pretty good. Audio ducking is functioning. Hey. Guess my bosses get to hear you stream too. Hi, Alia's bosses! What's up? Guinea Prince, thank you for the host welcome. Anyway, any more audio issues I should resolve before we begin lawyer time? They say hi. Oh, yay! Tell them I say hi. They can probably hear me. Is that an attorney outfit? Yes, it is an ace attorney outfit. I make custom outfits for myself depending on what game we're playing. Gotta get yourself a little louder. That might just be a physical microphone setting. Hello, testing. How about now? It's a little louder. Fucking with you'd forget to turn in your mic one time, and it just fucks everything up, apparently. How about now? What is happening? Hang on. Sorry about technical difficulties at the start of the stream. Oh my god, is that why it's not even hooked up to the right microphone? Asshole. This one? How about now? Yeah, that's good. It was connecting to my headset mic! Oh my god! Sorry about that, everyone. Okay, so this is a moral that apparently you plug in your mic improperly one time and it literally destroys your stream setup. Fun things that we are learning together today. Wow, okay. That took 10 minutes. What the hell? I'm gonna have a sip. 1 sec. Woof, okay. Anyways, hi everyone. Sorry about the technical difficulties. I think we should just get into it now. We are starting Case 4 today. So in case you guys missed it last time, we played through like the entirety of Case 3, which is wild. I did not expect it to be so like short, but also so fucking gripping. So let's get into this shit. The episode 4, The Adventures of the Clouded Kokoro, the Doki Maker. Let's fucking go. Case Quattro indeed. Give me a cutscene. Hell yeah.
I begin to think, Wilson, said Sholmes, turning his head languidly in my direction, that there is more to this case than that which we have observed. Indeed, that there may be another part to this story that we are yet to discover. His eyes wandered, following the steam rising from his cup of herbal tea.
Herbal.
Leading him to the distant memory of that snowy evening. To the young lady collapsed on the pavement along Briar Road, and to the knife in her back.
Rip.
Lit in the soft glow of gas lamps, a most extraordinary scene had been set. And under the cover of a light fog, the curtain had risen silently on the insoluble mystery of our invisible killer.
Show me Herlock Sholmes. Show me my mans. Oh, good. I have to do this guy's voice again. 19th February, 9:47 a.m. British Supreme Court Lord Chief Justice Office. I'm sure she's fine. Hi, baby. Did you sleep last night, Mr. Naruhodo? No, not at all. It was an enormous hotel, wasn't it? The rooms were so luxurious, I felt like we were staying in a palace. And with all the gaslights twinkling, it was brighter than day, even in the middle of the night. What about the enormous beds? After my time on the SS Buria, I wasn't going to waste a single inch of that space. I spent the entire night rolling from one side of the mattress to the other. Relatable content. I sleep diagonally. Like my head on one side and my feet on the full other side. Diagonally across my full-size bed. It's very comfy. Oh yes, it really was the sort of night you can only dream about normally. Except, when I learned we owed £3 for the rooms, that dream quickly turned into a nightmare. Oops. Sorry about that. The building was so impressive and the entrance so inviting, I just wandered in without thinking. In a lodging house in Japan, that sum of money would put a roof over your head for a whole year. I did try, but I'm afraid I couldn't help my tears when we were presented with the bill. I really am sorry. Poor babies. So much money. Well, never mind. We must find more affordable lodgings straight away, though. If we're not careful, our entire stipend will be used up in 10 days or less. Ugh, London is a scary place. Oh, is this, Steampunk Man? Ah, good morning to you at this early hour. Did I give him a Russian accent? I don't think I did. I think maybe I did on accident. I don't remember his voice. I just remember he was fancy. Oh, yes, well... Good morning to you, Lord Chief Justice. We have come to report on the outcome of the trial at the Old Bailey yesterday. Zato-san is amazing. She doesn't bat an eyelid, even in the presence of an imposing Lord Strongheart. I forgot that was his name. Deep fancy British. I can do that. Yes, I believe you had a very comprehensive initiation into British courtroom practices. Oh, yes, it was very eye-opening. Thank you. British. Watch it slowly turn into Russian, as all my accents do. And, in accordance with your instructions, Lord Strongheart, Mr. Naruhodo performed his duty to the end. Yes, I've already been apprised of events. You conducted a remarkable defense. You may consider the test passed. Oh! No longer are you a student from the Empire of Japan. You may henceforth claim to be a fully fledged lawyer. Now come in here for a hug. Oh, God! My country is delighted to welcome young talent from such a remote eastern land. Thank you very much. So, I'm a lawyer now. Now, in view of your new appointment, I have a fresh case in mind for you. I'd like you to take it on at once. I trust that won't be a problem. Another case already? Nothing trains a lawyer better than practical experience. I'm sure I don't sense the satisfaction, do I? It's just that yesterday's trial ended unusually. I haven't quite come to terms with it. What's to come to terms with? The man was cleared. What more were you hoping for? For a less morally gray case, maybe? The culpability of the defendant has not, at the present time, been established by this court. Consequently, the jury will not be required to proffer judgment. Well, Lord Van Zeeks, it's been a pleasure, so it has. And as for you, my dear fella, I couldn't have asked for a better defense. This fucking creep. Look at him go. Eat the rich. Eat him. Get him, Jerry. I just can't help wondering if Mr. McGilded really was innocent. Mr. Naruhodo. It's just that I never managed to ascertain the truth. And then the trial ended. Well, you needn't let it trouble you for a second longer. Sorry? What do you mean, Lord Strongheart? Magnus McGill. Oh shit, that was him that died! Yo! Yo! Okay, so we left the last case. We weren't sure who was killed in the fire. Oh, fucking shit! I guess we know now! The law works fast, but God works faster. Holy shit! Woo! Rip in pieces, I guess. Woof! Magnus McGilded passed away immediately following the trial. No! What? Mr. McGilded is dead? Sir, there are birds in your office! They will eat your paperwork and shit on your desk and all your gears. I have 19 minutes and 41 seconds until my next engagement. Enough time to talk. Preston Bingles. Let's talk to this fucking guy. Oh, okay, that's not the one I meant to pick. It was there by default. I wanted to know about McGilded and his courtroom coffin. So, how did you find your first taste of our country's Supreme Court? Oh, well, I don't know. I mean, it was... wow! Very, incendiary. Mr. Naruhodo means that the whole experience was steeped in the solemnity of the Great Britain's long history. It's really a world apart from our own judicial system in Japan, which is only a few short decades old. Wow, Suzato-san has such a way with words. And you seem to have a way of failing to find the right ones. The judicial system here is the most advanced in the world. Learn all you can. Most advanced in the world, is it? A dude died in your courthouse yesterday, and there was like so much fire. We knew it was a fire hazard, and then the scene of the crime burned down with the accused inside. Bruh! It was fortunate that your very first trial was a simple affair. That was simple. Yeah, what I said, Suzato. That was simple. As I believe I mentioned yesterday morning, it was a trial you couldn't lose. I don't mean to be contrary, Lord Strongheart, but the case was anything but simple. The circumstances of the case were so incriminating I was stunned when I first heard them. In fact, I'm still finding it hard to believe that we managed to get a favorable verdict. Is something funny? No, my apologies. However, the fact is that you did receive the not guilty verdict you set out to achieve. That can only be attributed to exceptional talent. Wouldn't you agree? Well, I don't know about that. Exceptional talent and many loading of save files. I mean, talent! Yeah! Yeah, totally. Well, never mind. You exceeded my expectations, I freely admit. That much is at least an undeniable truth. Which is precisely why I've prepared the new case for you that I mentioned before. What's going on? What was he gonna say before? Okay, tell me about my dude. I don't understand. What happened? How can he be dead? After the trial concluded yesterday, there was a great commotion in the Old Bailey. As you'll presumably recall, an omnibus had been wheeled into the courtroom. And it went up in fucking smoke. I can't believe you missed that. Yes, of course, that was the scene of the crime which Mr. McGilded had been accused of. Precisely. Well, while the bailiff's attention was diverted by some other matter, the omnibus went up in flames. No. How could such a thing have happened? That is being investigated as we speak, but already. The police have identified a corpse found inside the charred shell of the carriage as that of McGilded. Did this motherfucker fake his death? I don't know how he would have. But I'm not putting it out of the realm of possibility that he faked his death. I'm just putting that out there. Until I see the corpse and it's wearing that stupid top hat, I will be expecting him to make a return before the end of the game. Just saying. That's awful! The man must have slipped inside whilst the bailiff's attention was elsewhere. That bailiff really needs to pay more attention. How could that have happened? That is also being investigated as we speak. Because, he wanted to go... If you guys remember that, at the end of the trial... I think she's about to bring this up. At the end of the trial, the bailiff was like, hey, you wanted to come in and examine the omnibus, right? And he was like, yes. I have a sick feeling that punk faked his death. He pulled a Roy Mustang Full Metal Alchemist on this shit. Immediately after the trial, Mr. McGilded did mention going back into the courtroom to look at the omnibus. Faked his death, probably. Well, I must be making tracks now. 'Tis time for the inspection. Sorry, what inspection? They're going to examine the omnibus again, so I'm told. I asked if I could be present for it myself. An inspection of the omnibus. Not to my knowledge, I don't believe Scotland Yard had any intention of re-examining the carriage. Faked his death! Faked his death! This man faked his death! Calling it now! He faked his death to get out of a crime! Anyway, I did a little dance. You couldn't see it, but I did. But then who is Mr. McGilded talking about? Never mind that now. The Yard is making a thorough investigation. This matter is no longer any concern of yours. Leave it to the police. Poor Mr. McGilded. RIP. Could you perhaps give us some more details about the new case you mentioned? Don't tell me it's a murder, and the trial starts in 10 minutes. Silly Ryunosuke, it's always a murder! Even when you think it's not a murder, it's always a murder. Don't worry, it's nothing so alarming or quite so urgent as your last assignment. In fact, this case is completely different. But someone is dead, so get that in your head. Did he just read my mind? That is to say, no one has died. As yet. I'm telling you guys, even when they say it's not murder, it's gonna turn into murder. That's how Ace Attorney works. And the trial will not be today. There's plenty of time to research the case thoroughly. 23 hours, 43 minutes, and 19 seconds to be precise. So the trial's tomorrow then. Is everything all right? Oh, yes. I'm just a little confused, that's all. Yesterday's trial was... well, it's left me wondering if I'm really cut out for being a lawyer. Oh, Mr. Naruhodo. I don't know if I could face standing in that courtroom again after Mr. McGilded's trial. Do it for the hot vampire. I would like to see more of him, even though he's a douchebag. I want to see him put his feet up on the desk again, like a VTuber. Oh yes, I nearly forgot. There is one similarity with yesterday's case. Once again, there is currently no one to advocate for the defense. Oh! If the situation remains unchanged, the trial will start tomorrow with the defendant unrepresented. And if that happens, I need not remind you of the inevitable outcome. The most terrible end awaits the defendant. You just said no one was murdered. So why is it capital punishment? What did they do? Yes, that's right. Yeah, here we go again. Your time is up. You will have to excuse me. I would advise you to begin making preparations for tomorrow's trial. After all, the clock is ever ticking. There is now but 23 hours, 26 minutes, and 39 seconds until court sits. Last time you mentioned the 23 hours, he said there was plenty of time. Why'd you bonk me? What'd I do? I know. I want to see Sholmes and Vampworth. I want to see all of my boys in a line. Please and thank you. And one more thing. Mr. Naruhodo, there is something I should like to ask of you. Oh, what's that? Yesterday, you remarked upon something that you intended to see through the will of your late compatriot. Stop bonking me! Mr. Asogi. Oh, we're finally gonna find out what it is? 4 cases in? I would be interested to hear exactly what you mean by that. This is really ruining the mood! Inside 34 seconds. Oh, well, Kazuma always used to say, you see, that he wanted to learn how the greatest justice system in the world worked so he could change hours in Japan. And now that he's gone, I'd like to work towards that myself. And there's another thing. Oh! Another thing. Continue. On the way here on the steamship, he said something to me. There's something very important that I have to do. Something very important. And what exactly would that be? He never had a chance to tell me. I suppose he would have done if he'd ever made it to Great Britain. You're out of time. Thank you for an enlightening discussion. Dick. Mr. Naruhodo, what's all this about? Mr. Asogi never once mentioned anything of the sort to me. I urge you both to focus your attentions on the matter at hand. Who's that? I've taken the liberty of summoning the police inspector in charge of the case. He'll be able to apprise you of the details. How long has he been there? Yeah, my question too. So I wish you the best of luck and bid you farewell. There's something very important that I have to do. Kazuma-sama, what did you mean? I wish I knew, but honestly, he never told me. Anyway, we had better talk to the detective, don't you think? Yes, you're right. I hope I'm just imagining it, but I wouldn't say he looks pleased to see us at all. Oh no, he looks totally inviting. Look at that pleasant body language. Does he just have a big thing of churros? Or French fries? Oh, sorry, chips. Yup. Oh boy, this guy needs a voice now. What do you think? Yeah. Lovely weather, isn't it? What's the weather got to do with anything? Listen to me, you young Japanese upstart. Some frippery about the weather doesn't get every English gent eaten out of your hand, you know? But Susato-san told me it was foolproof. I'm a busy man, a very busy man. There's a crime scene to investigate, but I'm here, having to give the likes of you a talking to. Oh, I'm ever so sorry? Can you imagine what the other officers will be saying? Haven't seen Gregson anywhere, have you? No, he's too busy with the bigwigs these days. And all because some bumpkin who's on a jaunt from a country I've never even heard of. Hear that ripping sound? That's my reputation at the yard going to tatters. There's no need to rip us apart as well. This man is hungry. Me too. I don't believe we've been introduced. This is Mr. Ryunosuke Naruhodo, a defense lawyer. Eh? It's a pleasure to make your acquaintance. I'm Mr. Naruhodo's judicial assistant, Eh? It's lovely weather we're having today, isn't it? What's got you all calmed down? It's unseasonably fine, I grant you. London winters don't see a lot of sunshine. Unbelievable! How'd she pull that off? So, Lord Strongheart has asked me to fill you in on the case. Name's Tobias Gregson. Inspector Gregson to you. I'm from Scotland Yard. Gregson? Inspector Gregson? Well, what's the matter with Suzato-san? Does this detective's name mean something to her? Inspector, are you oh, you know what? I bet he's in the Herlock Sholmes novels, and that's why she knows. Inspector, are you perhaps the Inspector Gregson? You're acting like you know this man, Miss Suzato, but he's a London detective. Oh, I do know him. Very well, in fact. Very well? Yeah, I knew it! He features prominently in the Detectives' Adventures of Herlock Sholmes. Oh, in that publication. What's it called again? Rance Magazine? That's right! Inspector Gregson and Mr. Sholmes enjoy a wonderful friendly rivalry. Really? You... Oh, oops, wrong voice. You rival the great Mr. Sholmes? That's incredible. Don't call him great, he doesn't need the ego boost. Oh, well, I don't know about that. Mr. Sholmes isn't a professional like myself, of course. But he does come up with the goods from time to time. Mr. Sholmes is equally complimentary about you, Inspector, isn't he? You've earned his highest praise. Gregson is the pick of the bad lot of all of Scotland Yarders. Those were his own words. And that's his highest praise? Well, Mr. Sholmes isn't particularly known for giving compliments, you see. But he's very complimentary of my boy Ryu. That he is not, and thanks to that magazine, my name's known all over the London town now. That's great, isn't it? I have to admit that to start when I was little, well, flattered by all the attention. Everyone wanted to shake my hand, and my reputation at the yard went through the roof. Well, that's wonderful. No, it is not. There's nothing more sinister than the man on the street. People are always looking at me now. They're whispering rumors about me under their breath, I'm sure. Rumors? Are you quite sure? He's changed since he started appearing in those stories. Fame's gone to his head, stuff like that. Gosh, do you really think people are saying such mean-spirited things about you? Like I said, they whisper, so I can't catch exactly what they're saying. But I do know what folks are like. I'm sure that's what they're saying. As sure as eggs is eggs. Egg's gonna egg. I do get the feeling that this detective would be... I get the feeling that this detective could be very hard work. Oh dear. Perhaps a sudden rise to fame does change people. Tell me about the case. So, about the case that Lord Chief Justice mentioned before. Where did he put that? Did he just slip the fish and chips into his pocket? This man has pocket fish and chips. That's canon now. I'm making it canon. Nothing to tell, really. As far as we're concerned at the yard, it couldn't be simpler. Oh dear, that probably means that as far as we're concerned as lawyers, it couldn't be more complicated. I wish you were wrong about that, but I have a nasty feeling you're right. A young woman was walking along the pavement on Briar Road when she was stabbed from behind. Fortunately, it wasn't fatal. Oh! It wasn't fatal, but she's still laid up in the hospital unconscious. That's despicable! What sort of coward would attack the poor woman from behind? I suppose you would have finished whoever it was off with a Suzato takedown, would you? That is neither here nor there, Mr. Naruhodo. Brace yourself, Ryunosuke, you've angered her now. Anyway, after something of a whirlwind investigation, the criminal was arrested. Barely had time for a cup of tea after the incident took place, to be honest. So, there must have been something left at the scene that led you directly to the culprit? Or perhaps a reliable witness who recognized the person in question? Let me stop you right there. You're wasting your time on this one. Sorry? There's nothing you can do. There's no way to help the bloke now. Well, why ever not? Simple. Prosecutor that's been assigned to the trial tomorrow is Lord Barak von Zeeks. It's he's not my boyfriend, but he's our favorite vampire VTuber friend. No! Sounds like you've heard of him then. Oh, yes, we are very familiar with Lord Van Zeeks. Zykes. I don't know how to say his fucking name. Believed to be the harbinger of death itself. Reaper of the Bailey. Lord Barak von Zeeks, who we faced in court only yesterday. Mr. McGilden told us about him before the trial, didn't he? When Van Zeeks stands for the prosecution, they call the accused as sacrificial lambs. And in every single trial in which he's been the prosecutor, the accused has been damned. Except for yesterday. Oops, 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 oops. You think he's gonna hold a grudge over that? Probably. I'm telling you guys, he's Edgeworth. He's 40-year-old Edgeworth. Actually, do we know how old he is? No. Shit. The Reaper of the Bailey nickname. I suppose he's earned that because every defendant he advocates against is found guilty, is that it? Well, if that's the case, we should inform you, Inspector. We fucked up his record. That in yesterday's trial against Lord Van Zeeks, Mr. Naruhodo secured a verdict of not guilty. And what of it? Oh, well, I think... that means that even against the Reaper of the Bailey, it's not impossible to save the defendant. No, you really don't have a clue, do ya? What do you mean? Yeah, those went directly into his pocket. What happened to the bloke in the end, eh? He's dead. Magnus McGilden became a cropper in that omnibus when it went up in flames. So you can't rightly say you saved the defendant, can you? What are you saying? Look, if Van Zeeks could get the dirt on to stick on everyone, he'd be a miracle worker. But that's not how it goes. He doesn't work miracles, he works magic. Black magic. Oh, so if he doesn't get what he wants, he just fucking kills people? Bruh! Holy shit! I'd have a good long think about that if I were you. Are we really supposed to believe that?
Bruh.
Same. Right, well, I fiddled you in as requested, and I'm very nearly out of chips. I'll be heading back to the crime scene now. We're still carrying out a few more investigations there. It was Briar Road, you said, didn't you? Where the incident took place. Well, that's correct, ma'am. And if you head over to the holding cells, you can meet the criminal himself. You've handed him a criminal already? He's as good as. Shaking like a leaf in a cell he is. It'll give you a chuckle if nothing else. He's inmate 53. Speak to the jailer and he'll show you the way. Inmate 53. Thank you. So there's no helping anyone against the Reaper of the Bailey, they say. Is something troubling you, Mr. Naruhodo? To tell the truth, when I recall the trial yesterday, I can't stop myself from shaking. The idea of facing the Reaper in court again is... well, if you think it's too much for you, there's no shame in turning the case down. That takes courage, too. No, I want to do his accent again. But if the man they've arrested is innocent... you could well imagine he would be shaking like a leaf in his cell. And I, for one, wouldn't find the sight of that funny. So, if I'm honest, I'm still reeling from the shock of yesterday's events myself. And I'm really not sure if I'll be able to help this man, whoever he is. but I'd like to try. So I think I'm gonna make some inquiries. Will you help? Do you really think you had to ask? Oh, I love her! After all, I am your judicial assistant. Thank you. So then, shall we? Yes! Let's go! She's so cute! I love her! Alright. Let's go to the prison. I want to meet our dude. Who are we defending? I hope he's not a dick. Cool fucking prison cell, bro. So these are British prison cells. Looks like a fucking dungeon. Oh, they're ghastly. It feels just like a dungeon. Yes, and having experienced it in Japan myself, I can assure you that our wooden cells feel a lot cozier than these stone-cold walls. Oh no, Mr. Naruhodo, you're making it seem worse. I guess he was in prison for a little bit. Apparently our client is in this cell here. So dark at the back there, I can't make him out. Wonder what he's like. Inmate 53, your legal representative is here to see you. Stop hiding at the back of the cell and show your face at once. Am I a cat as yet with no name? Calling me by a number? It's utterly, unbelievably, unjustly unreasonable. I refuse to answer. Who is this? This is our dude, but I gotta see what he looks like to figure out his voice. Mr. Naruhodo, what? What do you think is going on here? I have no idea, but I wasn't just hearing things, was I? That tirade of complaints was in Japanese. Oh, shit! It's in Japanese. Hello, mustache man. Excuse me, but who— Shh! Quiet! Got him! They're all around, hiding. I know they are. They're watching, listening, even now. I can sense it. Right. So, could I ask you who's— There you are! You've come to curse me, haven't you? Don't try to hide it, you're a ghost! A ghost? Dude's very fidgety. We mean you no harm, prisoner-san. Are you Japanese by any chance? Oh, that cleared him up. This is beyond my wildest dreams! Oh, bud. He's just freaked out. Oh no. Forgive me for that outburst before. I'm so sorry. Oh, it's fine. We were just a little surprised, that's all. Imagine it! Ah, it's been 12 long months since I left my hometown, and here I am in a frightful fix in a foreign land. So hearing the sweet, sentimental tones of a compatriot's voice here in this damp, dark hellhole was a most monumentally moving moment! Oh, this dude's a poet. I am on this shit. Who would have guessed that this new client Lord Strongheart assigned to us would turn out to be a fellow Japanese? Ah, what compassion my fellow countrymen show, to dispatch a first-class lawyer all the way from Japan to defend a mere foreign student. Noble, nurturing, never-failing Nippon! Cool pose, dude. First-class lawyer? Oh dear, I think there's been something of a misunderstanding here. I wonder, would you be so kind as to tell us what's happened? Why you've been detained as a suspect, for example? Yes, I can, I will! Shan't say sullen and silent! I'm not quite sure I understand what he means, but he seems happy. Yes, he does. I just hope he actually has a good reason to be. Thank you for your cooperation. I am a lawyer, as you said. My name is Ryunosuke Naruhodo. And I am Naruhodo-san's judicial assistant, Susato Mikotoba. I am a visiting student sent here by our government. Notably, notoriously named Natsume. Soseki Natsume. Yep, there we go. Fucking writer. I've heard the name before. Let's talk to he. Historical figures? In my, I almost said TNT game, in my Ace Attorney game? In this one, yes! Soseki Natsume-san? What an unusual name. Call me Soseki, please. I'm a poet, you see, a writer of haiku. It's something of a nom de plume. A nom de plume? You mean an alias? That's right, Naruhodo-san. No, no, no! Don't be so prosaic! It's much more refined than that! And haiku? That really reminds me of home. Did I hear you say that you were a visiting student sent over here by the government? Yes, yes, that's right. A year ago I was told to go and study English. First I had to suffer that misery, and now this! It's beyond the pale! Suffer that misery? Did you not want to study here? No! I mean, I've had interest in Great Britain for some years, of course. Oh. But! Just because the government tells you to do something, doesn't it mean you can do it? No! What do you mean? If they told me to study English literature, that I could have understood. That's my field. But no, they told me to study the English language. Utterly, unbelievably, unjustly unreasonable. I see. Only the other day I was told to send a report about my first year here. I tendered a blank piece of paper. Wise words on whitewashy. You must be a man of great standing. Oh yes, so I'm often told. And often like to be told, it seems. Kokoro was a huge slog on my Japanese major friends in college. Yeah, so I don't really have any sort of background in that, but I remember, I was trying to Google something, because I saw like a little bit of a kerfuffle on Twitter, when people found out that the prosecutor was a little bit racist, and people on Twitter are gonna be people on Twitter. They're being upset about it. And, people were trying, like, there was discussion on whether, like, this game, I guess, kind of switches back between calling it Japan and Nippon or Japanese and Nipponese, and some people were like, is that racist? I don't know if that's racist. And what I get was what people on Twitter who were defending the game were saying was, that's what you would have said. It's the time period appropriate. And so I went digging to try and find out if that was true. Could not find a source for that. Apparently, Nipponese is what Japan was kind of called, like pre-World War II, and it was a patriotic way of calling Japan, apparently. And now people don't use it as much. I don't know. I'm not an expert, I just Googled it a little bit. Don't take my word as gospel. But while I was researching, I found an article written by one of the localizers of this game, and they were talking, I guess it must have been about this case and some of the translation methods that they used and like why they translated certain things as other things. And they definitely brought up this character, and so I'm like, oh, this must be the case that I read that article about. It didn't talk about the contents of the case at all, so I have no plot spoilers. I just remember hearing, like, I had heard the whole thing about, like, the translation of that thing, and it's gonna come up because I saw screen caps. But just, like, how to translate Japanese language in a way that makes sense, how to localize stuff. It's really fascinating. I am not an expert, I just found it interesting. So, we will move on. Could you perhaps tell us exactly why you've been arrested, Soseki-san? I didn't do it! I didn't commit that atrocious murder! Murder? Oh, no, it's all right. The woman didn't actually die, did she? But she was stabbed with a knife right before my eyes! Before your eyes? You mean you saw the attacker? I didn't see anyone. What? If I'd seen the person who did it, do you think I'd be locked up in here? Yeah, Nippon or Nihon is the Japanese names for themselves. Okay, that's what it was. So, it's the way you pronounce it, because Nippon and Nihon are like two different ways to pronounce the same spelling of the kanji. Apparently, Nihon is the more modern way, and Nippon with the P is the more patriotic way of saying it, like the nationalist patriotic, apparently. So modern day, most people would not say Nippon; they'd say Nihon instead. So that was the skerfuffle that I read. So I just couldn't remember exactly what it was, but that refreshed my memory. So thank you. Oh dear, it seems this case is becoming rather complicated. Why me? Why me? Why did that silly woman have to be stabbed in front of me? It's the curse of London. It's incredibly, inexcusably, irritatingly inconvenient. So Soseki-san was there at the scene, but he didn't see the attacker. It's vital that we find out more about the case. Exactly. About the case. It was an accursed evening, just after the snow had started to clear and heavy with fog. I'd been to the bookshop to buy some books, and I was on my way back to my accursed lodgings. Sure the bookshop wasn't accursed too? As I was walking along that accursed pavement, I could make out the sole silhouette of another ahead of me. A woman wearing a green overcoat she was, and just as I went to overtake her, she suddenly let out a little scream and collapsed onto the cold, hard slabs of stone at my feet. How terrible! I called out to the woman, but she didn't move. It was like a ghostly, ghoulish, grim graveyard. Slight exaggeration there, perhaps? I was terrified. I had to get away from there, so I ran as fast as my legs would carry me back to my accursed lodgings. That's not good. They'll say it was shameful, I know, to run away like that. Tell me, Soseki-san, was the victim an acquaintance of yours? Don't be ridiculous! Do you think I'd know any of these fair-haired English? And a young woman at that? I'm diffident, shy, timid, unsure. I can't talk to people! Bro, same. I see. A young woman unknown to Soseki-san, so no motive. And at the time it happened, who else did you see nearby? Did anybody pass you? Regrettably, apart from myself and the woman, I didn't see a soul. No one? Oh, great. So the victim was unknown to you and there was nobody else on the street at the time. That creates something of a conundrum, doesn't it? It was a ninja throwing star was the murder weapon. Ka-choo! Throwing knives. What conundrum? Well, yeah, the conundrum is that we don't have any other potential suspects or witnesses. What do you mean, Susato-san? What's the conundrum? Well, if what Soseki-san has just told us is true, there's something I can't explain. He says he didn't know the victim and that there was no one else at the scene. Then he apparently fled without having been seen. I did. But if that's the case, oh, how'd he get arrested? Surely this man has to be the culprit. You! What did you just say? Nothing. I didn't say anything. Oops, perhaps I thought that a little loudly. Actually, that's not what was troubling me. What I was thinking was, how did Soseki-san actually come to be arrested? Sorry? He didn't touch the victim and there was nobody at the scene to see him. So how did the police ever discover that he was there in the first place? Oh, yes, she's right. Hang on. Okay. It was him. That accursed great... No! Sholmes! What did you do? That accursed great detective. He led the police to me. Of all the bad luck. Accursed great detective? Could it be? Yeah, we know exactly who that is. I shall never forget that name's man as long as I live. With his haughty laugh and his self-proclaimed greatness. Brash, big-headed busybody, be gone. There he is. May you be cursed until the end of your days, Hairlock Sholmes. God, I love him. Look at him. He's so dumb. Oh no, Sholmes. I knew it. Look at him, he's cute, I missed him. Mr. Sholmes? Hairlock Sholmes. Well, I didn't expect to hear that name from this man's lips, that's for sure. It was the morning after the nightmare had unfolded on the pavement before me. I was gnawing on a sliver of hard cheese when some men suddenly burst in through the door. They started shouting at me, "This is the police, put the weapon down!" Yes, it was a thin sliver, and yes, it was hard, but I wasn't eating a weapon! Disgusting dietary discrimination, devils! You clearly had a trying morning yesterday. And there he was in the middle of all the policemen, grimming like a Cheshire cat. That Hairlock Sholmes! It's actually just Herlock Sholmes. He's English. I've since found out that he's a famous name in detection here in London. Yes, the great detective is really very well known. She seems guilty about it. And apparently his sharp mind managed to deduce my whereabouts, apparently. He thinks I'm the knife-wielding madman. Me? This weak, stooped kitten of a man. Stooped kitten. Wonder if that great deduction process led him to this king's conclusion this time. I can't talk today. Oh my god. Hang on. Ugh, making a mess on my desk. I spilled my water. Fuck. Do you mean to say that Mr. Sholmes' deduction was the only reason the police arrested you? That would be really most unreasonable. Well, the thing is, I was thrown into a panic when they barged their way in. What did you do? Of course you were. That's only natural. I was terrified and trembling, and they kept throwing question after question at me in impossible English. Fiendish foreign flimflammery. Well, we are in England. You can't really blame them for questioning you in English. Good point, but my mind went blank. I knew I had to answer, but I didn't know what to say. So I just kept repeating things like, yes, I do, and I'm fine. Bruh, no. The next thing I knew, I was in manacles, and before I knew it, I was thrown in here. Oh dear, I'm afraid that's hardly surprising. I'm fine. He's not fine now. Mr. Naruhodo Esquire! Oh, you can just call me Naruhodo. And when you were speaking in English, a simple mister is more than enough. Oh, yes, alright. Yes, they've really got to me. This country is poisoning my mind. But please, I beg you to defend me in court tomorrow. You can tell them what really happened. You'll do it, won't you? Well, Why? Why is it so hard to say yes to me? Well, the thing is, I'm just a student like yourself on a study tour. A student? I've defended a case in the Old Bailey. Only the one, though. I was just about to say he's Apollo Justice and he's fine. I'm fine! God, I want to replay that game. Nintendo! Bring me the Apollo Justice remaster to the Switch, please! And the other games. All Ace Attorney for the Switch, please. But at this moment in time, I really don't know what I'm supposed to believe in. I'm confused about what justice in this country even means. Oh, Naruhodo-san. I'm not even the foreign student who is supposed to be here. I'm a sort of locum lawyer, I suppose. But that armband, that's the mark of a defense lawyer from our great empire! It's a keepsake from the man who should have been here. He was my best friend, boyfriend. A keepsake? Aw. I know exactly what they're saying about me. Oh, what do you mean? The lawyers. All the British defense lawyers, they won't defend me. Goodness! Why do you say that? We already know why. It's because of our vampire VTuber friend. For the same reason as you noted before. When it happened, there was only the victim and myself around, and I ran away from the scene of the crime. I'm not a fool. I know it looks as though I must be the culprit. It must be very hard for you, Soseki-san. And anyway, I'm a student from overseas. I'm just a foreign nobody to them, someone not to be trusted. I heard them openly laughing about me before, in my earshot, without any compunction at all. Any trial for this man would be a waste of time, they said. And, of course, the foreigner did it. They even had the gall to say the man doesn't understand half of what's being said anyway. That's awful. They're wrong! I've studied more English than half of the policemen out there on the streets. I've traveled halfway around the world to learn about these people's country and its great history. But no one here wants to listen to a man with a strange accent. They all hate me. So, at the very least, I'd like to entrust my fate to someone who can listen to me in my native tongue. Aw, dude. You could do it, couldn't you? When I look into your eyes, I can see it. I see with what you've been through. Soseki-san, it's just that... Give me a little time, please. I'll do what I can for the time being. What do you mean?
We shall investigate the case as thoroughly as possible. If we can find some clues, it will give us a much better chance, I'm sure.
Oh, yes, thank you. I'll be here, all alone, waiting for you, locum student Mr. Naruhodo Esquire.
We should be going then, Naruhodo-san. We have a case to prepare for.
Let's go! I trust him. He gives me sad boy vibes. He can't murder a person. Oh, I like this art. It's pretty. Oh, the smokestack is moving. That's nice. Nice little detail. Compared to our last Irish billionaire, yeah. I wish I had, like, picked up that he was Irish. It's not that I can even do an Irish accent, but I don't know. I could have tried. So this is where it happened. Briar Road.
Ah! Look, Mr. Naruhodo! Look at that regulation metal helmet. It's unmistakable. The men of Scotland Yard are here. They're investigating as we speak.
She's fangirling. That is their job, you know?
But Mr. Naruhodo, to see it with my own eyes! They're often depicted in the adventures of Herlock Sholmes, but I never dreamed I'd ever come this close to a real Bobby's helmet.
What? The helmet?
Of course. I have to try one on one day.
Well, I hope your Hattie dream comes true. He's so cute! Oh, hey dude. What's up? What's up, bowler hat? What's the Japanese delegation doing here?
Oh, Inspector Gregson.
This isn't the tourist trail, as I'm fairly sure you're well aware.
Yes, of course. We're here to investigate.
So you've been to the holding cells then? What do you make of the criminal?
He's not a criminal, as you put it, Inspector. He's a suspect.
We'll see about that. You Japanese like to stick together, I suppose. Oi! Well, do what you will. It doesn't bother me. The bloke's in court tomorrow, whatever happens, and the verdict's a foregone conclusion. Ugh, the stone cold air of rejection.
Take heart. London at this time of year is full of stone cold air.
That makes it worse somehow. Although one thing I will say about that actually is it's like, yes, he's being rude, but I actually have a story kind of related. When I was in school, it wasn't really a joke, just like something that people kind of like notice is like, it's kind of like the stereotype that like minorities all know each other. It's a rude stereotype, absolutely. I am not saying it's not, but I just remember that when I was living in Japan, in my not small town, but like it wasn't Tokyo, it was like a small city. If I saw a white person on the street, there was a 95% chance I knew them and could immediately converse with them because they were probably my coworkers. So I just always thought that was funny. It's like, no, not all white people in Japan know each other, but we totally do, because there's like a damn good chance. If you're not like in a touristy area and you see another white person, you probably know them from work.
That is what I learned while I was over there. I just always thought that was funny. It's like, oh, another foreigner? Do I know them? Yes, I know them from work. Alright, let's talk to this punk. Tell me about Scotland Yard, Inspector. Ever since I read about it in The Adventures of Sherlock Holmes, I've been fascinated by the place. The Yard is the most sophisticated policing organization you'll find anywhere in the world, ma'am. Oh, and you know I've always dreamed of wearing a real Bobby's helmet. It does make them look the part, seeing that policeman there with his helmet on. You certainly get the sense that this is a man who will take no nonsense in his duty of protecting the city. Oh yes, doesn't he look wonderful? Being a London Bobby's hard going, I can tell you. Oh, really? First thing in the morning, you know what he does? Goes around and rouses all the laborers on his beat so they can get off to work. What? He wakes people up? Yup, raps on the windows with a long pole. Did it myself going back a bit. Because there weren't alarm clocks back in the day. I had no idea. Bobby works for the people of the town. It's just another one of his duties. After that, he starts tirelessly patrolling the streets all day long. He has to cover 20 miles a day. That's the regulation distance. I can't really imagine how far that is, but it sounds like a long way. Let me see. 20 miles. That's approximately the distance from Tokyo to Yokohama. On foot? That's definitely taking things a step too far. And when it gets dark, of course, he has the important job of lighting all the gas street lamps. Oh my. And I suppose in between all those duty, Bobbies are expected to investigate cases as well. And chase after criminals trying to evade the law. I'm not sure you could call it in between exactly. More alongside. But yes. They're expected to handle those jobs as well. We do have men keeling over from time to time, I admit. I'd always dreamed of wearing one of those helmets, as I said. But it's with a heavy heart that I shall have to relinquish that dream to you, Mr. Naruhodo. Oi! Don't put it on me! Your heavy heart will be in my heavy head if you do. It happened around 5 in the evening 2 days ago, just there on that open bit of pavement. The victim, a young woman, was stabbed with a blade from behind. Is it right that the lady is still unconscious now? You mentioned that she's being treated in the hospital. I never said she was a lady. Truth is, unless she comes around pretty smartish, we won't be able to find much about her at all. I suppose that means they haven't been able to take a statement from her, of course. In the pocket! Here's a map of the local area I happen to have on me. Take it if you want. Really? Are you sure? Yeah, you need it for the court record. It's Yard policy to give lawyers defending suspects the odd bit of information to go on. I haven't actually accepted the job yet, but still. Thank you, Inspector. We gratefully accept. Local map. Anyway, as far as we know, there was no one else at the scene other than the victim and your fellow countrymen. So who did it, do you think? Not much of a head-scratch, is it? Well, I know Mr. Natsume is also claiming not to have seen anyone else around, but... But just because he didn't see anyone, it doesn't mean we can be sure that nobody else was present. I'm sorry to have to tell you, but we most certainly can be sure. How? Because, ma'am, Sherlock Holmes is involved. The precise moment of the stabbing didn't go unnoticed. What? We have 2 very reliable witnesses, no less. How do you have witnesses? I thought we had no witnesses. That was why he took so long to be arrested, and why he was accused and whatnot. It was a typical foggy London day, and your client obviously didn't see them. Oh. If you didn't see them, then yeah, sure, I guess. I feel like they would have told him, though. Who are these Maybe they told him when he wasn't understanding them and he was just saying yes and to everything. Who are these witnesses, Inspector? A fellow and his wife, and the man's one of the most reliable and respected citizens in all London. He's a corporal from Scotland Yard. Ah! A policeman?
That might change things.
And this policeman just happened to be there at the exact moment the woman was attacked?
Nothing peculiar about that, ma'am. Part and parcel of being a bulby. Catching them banging the act and all that.
Do you think it might be possible for us to ask that policeman a few questions?
Be more guest. You can ask him what you like. Report tomorrow. Oi. Oh. I've no doubt he'll be summoned as a witness. But I'll give you something to look forward to. That's that, then. Got no intention of letting us meet the man beforehand, it seems.
The policeman witnessed the incident. As your judicial assistant, I must warn you that this could make our job very difficult indeed.
Yes, as a non-judicial assistant, I could have warned me of that too.
Oh, yes. One more thing, Inspector.
What?
The person who led you to the suspect.
I want to see my little boy! Show him to me! I want to see my little boy!
I hear that it was Mr. Sherlock Sholmes.
What are you bringing him up for? Because I want to see my little boy!
Was it something I said? The color drained from his cheeks.
I want to see my little boy! Who did you hear that name from?
Oh, well, it was Mr. Natsume who mentioned it. He said that Mr. Sholmes was with the police when they entered his lodgings. I'm sure it was the result of one of Mr. Sholmes' inspirational great deductions.
Fiddle faddle.
Yeah.
The man's an amateur, and I'm getting sick and tired of him showing his mug everywhere.
I'm not.
Oh. I don't know where he gets his information from, but he turns up at the scene of the crime, wanders around spouting incomprehensible rubbish, and before you know it, he claims to have solved the case.
Yes, he's quite astounding, isn't he? He is a great help to Scotland Yard, though, isn't he?
Gibble gabble.
Yeah.
Ever seen this before?
Oh, yes, that's Rand's magazine. The wonderful publication in which the adventures of Sherlock Sholmes appears.
Yes, well, that wonderful publication, as you put it, sees fit to include several of the Oz detective in its stories. And the so-called great detective makes a mockery of all of us. If you ask anyone at the Yard, it's a misadventure to be included in any Sherlock Sholmes tale at all.
Well, I suppose there is an element of that.
We work our socks off, every last one of us, only to be frumped by the public thanks to that obnoxious detective. The man's as dangerous to us as Scotland Yard as he is to all our criminals.
That can't really be true, can it, Inspector? Clearly the great detective and the police have a complex relationship.
Show him to me. Show him to me! That twitchy Japanese bloke goes on on trial tomorrow. You going to defend him or not?
Well,
makes no difference to me, but I will just say this. No London lawyer worth his salt would touch that case with barge pole.
Because the prosecution is being handled by the Reaper of the Bailey, you mean?
There's no way to save the man now. It's a waste of time trying. It's all a bit strange, though.
Sorry?
The Reaper. He hasn't appeared in court once for a good few years now.
Yes, we did hear something to that effect.
And the only people he usually bothers with are the real scum. The master criminals. The violent ones.
The master criminals? The violent ones?
That's right. He handpicks his victims. Only deals with those guaranteed to go to the gallows for their sins.
But Mr. Natsume wouldn't hang for what he's accused of, surely?
That's just my point, sunshine. Yes, the young woman was stabbed, but it didn't kill her. Couldn't even say the intent was there. So if this isn't the sort of case I'd be expecting the Reaper to want to sink into, for want of a better phrase,
well, it's not exactly a minor infraction, is it?
No, there's got to be more to it. Some reason he's taken an interest.
Really? What sort of reason, Inspector?
You think I can tell you what's going on inside the head of that Lord of Darkness? You'll have to ask him yourself. Tomorrow's trial.
Are we really gonna have to face the Reaper again? The Lord of Darkness, as he puts it. Well, I don't think we're gonna get any more useful information out of the detective. I want to see the other detective, please. Mr. Naruhodo, can I make a suggestion? Oh, yes, what is it? Well, it seems to me that we must speak with him about this. Yes, we must! Yes, we must! By him, do you mean Mr. Sholmes? Mr. Sholmes! Yes, Mr. Herlock Sholmes, exactly! Look at those shining eyes. You can't wait, can you? Yeah, she is me. She is me. I love he. Show him to me. Well, Mr. Natsume did blame Mr. Sholmes for all this, didn't he? Yes, he did. He really did. Which makes him an involved party in the case. Are you just going to ignore that? I hope not. I assure you, it's not simply my selfish desire to meet with Mr. Sholmes again. The trouble is, we have no idea what the man's address even. It's Baker Street! How do you know that? It's in the stories, of course. 221B Baker Street, the most famous address in the world. Oh, I see. Well, there's nothing to stop us from going, I suppose. Better try to find our way there before Suzato-san gets any more excited and unpredictable. Let's fucking go! Hurrah! I'll go summon a carriage! So we're to have a reunion already with the great detective, Mr. Herlock Sholmes. Let's fucking go! Let's fucking go! I want to see my little boy! Where's my emotional support himbo? I wish to see... Ooh.
Thank you very much. It's just up there overlooking the street. Good day. Thanks again. This is it. The residence of Mr. Herlock Sholmes.
Nice place, bruh. Nice house. Mind if we come in? Look at all your shit. I love the, like, slightly animated backgrounds. It really adds just, like, a nice level of, it's just a nice detail. Like, all the backgrounds so far have been, like, just a little bit animated. Like, one thing is animated, and it's just enough to make it, like, really feel like you're there. It's nice. Sholmes is sweet. Bro, why do you have a knife? Why do you have letters and a knife in your wall? I have to examine this. Look at all this shit. So this is where the great detective makes his living. Feels surreal to be here somehow. Nice. Is it as described in the stories, Miss Suzato? Suzato-san? Aw. Many, many famous cases have been solved here in this very room. Oh, I suppose they must have been, yes. I've never read the story, so it's hard to get quite as excited about it as she seems to be. The detective chases the villain relentlessly as he disappears into the fog down into an unlit London street. Oh, the thrill of it, the romanticism. Can't you feel your heart thumping in your chest? Can't you, Mr. Naruhodo? Oh, I suppose I can, yes. So, if you don't mind, I'll just stand here and soak up the atmosphere for a while longer. Please, don't mind me. Ah, she's obsessed. Well, looks like our detective friend isn't home and present. How'd you get in? Did you break into his house? Excuse me, is anybody home? Is this my boy? Oh, do we have a visitor? Oh no, it's you again, the JRPG protagonist. Hello? Is it a big new case for Mr. Sholmes? Hello? Wait. Aren't you... Oh, how rude of me. We'll go make some tea at once. I mean, I guess if it's his place of business, then he would possibly leave the door unlocked so people could come in, but still... very trusting, Mr. Sholmes. I'm sure it's the same girl. Mrs. Otto, did you see the girl who was just here? Oh yes, isn't it truly extraordinary? To think that the King of Bohemia came to this very room to ask Mr. Sholmes to take on his case. The King of Bowaria? King Wilhelm Gottreich Sigismund von Ormstein, of course! Sorry, I'm drawing a blank. Forget the adventures of Herlock Sholmes for a minute and look over there.
Tea's brewed, and I have freshly baked cake as well.
Ah, it's you! I knew it. Susato-san recognizes her too.
Ah, there you are. And taking that with you as well? I was looking forward to the trial run of my experimental smoke grenade launcher. Oh, good day to you. I'm the inventor, I suppose, of that machine.
The girl who turned up at the end of Mr. McGilden's trial in the defendant's antechamber.
I've never met a lawyer from the Far East before. Or you, having to get straight to work when you've only just arrived in London.
Oh, yes, it was challenging.
Well, try this tea. It's my special blend, you know.
Oh, thank you. Is tea supposed to look that color?
Oh my, what a fragrant yet mellow aroma,
Or flavor. Blech.
Hooray, it's a winner! I tried blending different leaves designed to alleviate fatigue, you see. You must be exhausted after your long voyage here, and you have another ticklish trial tomorrow. Oh, and you're to defend a Japanese man. I do wish you lots and lots of luck.
How do you know all that?
Did Mr. Sholmes tell you about us by any chance? Oh, you know Hurley, do ya?
Hurley? Mr. Sholmes to you, Shirley?
And Mr. Sholmes was a fellow passenger on the boat that brought us to Great Britain, you see. Was he really? Well, I had no idea. I'm afraid Hurley's out on an errand again today, even though he's just returned from overseas.
Wait a minute. We met this girl for the first time ever yesterday after the trial, and only briefly at that. How on earth does she know so much about us? Did she deduce all those things, do you think?
And perhaps more to the point, why is she here in Mr. Sholmes' suite? Oh, silly me, I haven't introduced myself, have I?
Yes, what is your name, child?
It's a great pleasure to meet you both. My name is Iris Wilson.
Oh.
I live here together with Hurley.
She's the Watson. Ah, Iris, is it? What a lovely name.
What?
What's the matter?
No, wait, this can't be. Did you say that your name is Wilson?
What's the matter with Susato-san? Why is she so flustered all of a sudden?
Yes, that's right. What are your names?
Oh, I'm Ryunosuke Naruhodo, a lawyer from Japan.
Oh, sorry. I'm Mr. Naruhodo's judicial assistant, Susato Miyakotoba. It's wonderful to meet you. Lovely. Susie and Runo. Got it.
Susie? And Runo? There's more to this girl than meets the eye. I have so many questions for her, I don't know where to start. But she's cute though, look at her.
Yes, and so do I.
I want to talk to the small child. It was you that we ran into yesterday, wasn't it? At the Old Bailey.
Yes, that's right. You were ever so helpful. Thank you so much. Oh, no, not at all. I'm sorry we couldn't have been more welcoming.
Though at the time we did have a rather large gun pointed at us. And now you have it again.
Like this? Thinking back now, you left with Miss Lestrade in tow, didn't you?
Oh, yes, that awkward witness, Gina Lestrade.
Oh, Ginny? Yes, she's a professional pickpocket.
So we found out.
It was very naughty of her to pinch my invention like that.
Are you referring to that trial-disrupting gun-like contraption?
Exactly. So I followed her, you see, to get it back. Perhaps I should think about fitting a self-destruct mechanism in my inventions.
This girl is dangerous.
Anyway, I brought Jenny back here after that, so she could apologize to my trusty technician.
Sorry, your technician?
Hurley, of course, silly.
Hurley?
Yes, Herlock Sholmes. We live together here.
I had no idea that the great detective had such an interesting young daughter.
Daughter? Not likely.
What?
I wouldn't call him Hurley if he was my father, would I?
Well then, what is your relationship with Mr. Sholmes? Yeah, I really want to know that too.
Well, I expect you found out that lodging of any kind in London are very expensive. So the solution is to share the cost with a partner, a roommate.
Oh, they're just... Oh my god, they were roommates! You're roommates?
I hope you don't mind me asking, Iris, but how old are you?
10 at last this year! Oh my god, she's a baby! Where are your parents? Well, what of your mother and father?
Oh no, they're not around.
Oh, I see. I wonder what the story is there.
Oh yes, there's something I must ask you. Of course, go ahead, Susie. I'm a very great fan of the adventures of Herlock Sholmes and... Oh, you have a copy of Rand's magazine! Yes, I read every issue. It's delivered all the way to Japan on a ship. Oh, this is so exciting! My stories are being read on the other side of the world!
My stories? Is she the one who writes them?
That's right. Hurley is always solving such amazing cases, you see, and he tells me all about them. They really are quite fascinating. It would be such a shame if I was the only one who ever heard them, don't you think?
Goodness.
Last night, he was telling me all about a new case he just solved on a steamship traveling from a faraway land. So I was just in the middle of typing up the manuscript for the next big issue before you came.
So you are the author?
Yes, I'll let you in on the secret if you like. I'm going to call this latest adventure the Speckled Band.
The Speckled Band? That certainly feels familiar. I'm getting PTSD flashbacks.
Of course, I always change one or two details in the stories, here and there. This time, I had the idea of making a venomous snake to be the cause of all the trouble.
Oh, that was Mr. Sholmes' first thought as well, actually.
Yes, and of course I know that a snake might not be credible fit for all the facts in the case exactly, but... It's a story! Some poetic license is justified to make it more thrilling, I think. Don't you?
So, do you mean to say...
Are the stories about Mr. Sholmes that are published in Rand's magazine all written by me? Yes, and my wonderful and very modern typewriter.
But all the stories I've ever read are written by a doctor of medicine, Dr. John H. Wilson. This sounds getting more and more worked up.
Ah, yes, that's me. I mean, my name really is Wilson.
But what about the doctor of medicine part?
That's all true too. I am a doctor of medicine.
Oh my god. She is literally 10. She's literally 10. No, at 10 years old?
At 10 years old.
Well, that's quite incredible.
But...
Dr. Wilson is an English gentleman.
Ah, yes. I did alter the settings slightly for the stories to be more compelling.
Oh.
Well, it sounds a little strange, doesn't it? Great detective with a 10-year-old girl in tow.
I suppose it does, yes. Poor Susato-san. She looks like her whole world is just falling apart. Oh, this music is fun. I'm just bouncing and dancing to it now. This is fun. About before.
Yes? What's on your mind, Runo? Do tell me.
How did you know that I was a lawyer and we just arrived in London, I mean?
Yes.
Oh!
And that we have a difficult trial tomorrow. How did you know all of that? Oh, that's what you mean.
Please, tell us how you did it. Explain every detail.
Of course, I'd be delighted. Although, there's really no mystery. Now, let's begin. Iris Wilson is proud to present her Logic and Reasoning Spectacular.
Oh!
First of all, I knew already that you were a liar, Runo. After all, I met you yesterday at the Old Bailey in the defendant's antechamber.
But you also said that we'd only just arrived in London. How did you know that?
I observed a passport and travel ticket protruding from your breast pocket.
Why do you still have that there? Oh.
So I was reasonably confident that you must have only just arrived in the country. And on top of that, you accepted a case against that particular prosecutor, telling me you weren't unaware of London's court affairs.
Reaper of the Bailey? I walked right into that one, didn't I?
And then I noticed a red ink stamp on the back of Susie's hand. You were given that when you visited the local prison to meet with the suspect, weren't you? Earlier today. Ah. I use those stamps to keep a close eye on comings and goings, you see.
I didn't realize.
And a red stamp is only used for people visiting foreign inmates. So, Matt told me that even though you had only yesterday concluded the trial of Magnus McGilded, the two of you had already had cause to visit a foreign inmate at a local prison. However, neither of you was wearing a particularly sad expression on your face, so I concluded that the prisoner was unlikely to be a friend or a relative. That led me to believe that you must have accepted a new case.
I see.
But how could you have known that the trial is tomorrow? Well, having barely been home a few hours yesterday, Hurley solved yet another case. It's obviously amused him. He told me he caught a Japanese man who was bawling and trembling.
A Japanese man? Well, clearly that must have been Mr. Natsume.
Now, Runo has that fancy Japanese sword. And I think your outfit is called a kimono, isn't it, Susie? Well, anyway, it was clear to me that both of you come from Japan yourselves. So I put two and two together and decided you must be defending the Japanese man Hurley caught. And there was only one conclusion that those facts could lead me to. You both came here to ask Hurley about the case.
She's so cute!
There's a note on the mantelpiece that says the man's trial will be tomorrow. Hurley is always stabbing his notes with a knife, you know. He is silly. And that's all there was to it, really. Thank you for listening. I'm Iris Wilson, and that was one of my great deductions.
She's the brains of the operation.
Well, was it a winner? Were my deductions correct?
They were spot on.
That was amazing, Iris. Truly a great deduction.
You even managed to certain something of Mr. Sholm's delivery.
Oh, well, I was just copying Hurley's style for that.
This is really good news. You could tell us all about the case involving the Japanese man. You will, won't you, Iris? Yes, tell us about the case because you're clearly the more intelligent one. So yesterday, Mr. Sholmes apprehended a Japanese man, you were saying.
Yes. Hurley had just arrived back in London after his sea voyage, but the police were waiting for him at the railway station and take him directly to the crime scene.
Ah, the great detective is a popular man, it seems.
Apparently, this woman was stabbed on a quiet street somewhere in town. There were witnesses who had seen a short, shifty-looking, stooped man running away from the scene.
A short, shifty-looking, stooped man. Mr. Natsume, beyond any doubt. Soseki-san said he didn't see anybody else on the street at all. But it seems there were witnesses after all.
Hurley used his great deductive powers to determine the man's address. It was a lodging room very nearby. He went directly there with the police, and what did they find? A short, shifty-looking, stooped man, shivering in fear.
Mr. Sholm's great deduction certainly hit the mark that time. Of course it did. He's a great detective. Still, that means the incident occurred only 2 days ago. Surely tomorrow is too soon for the trial, isn't it?
Definitely. We have no time to investigate properly. Annie says that London is rife with crime.
Oh.
Scotland Yard is doing its best, but they can't stay on top of it, apparently. Oh dear, I hadn't realized the situation was so dire. That's why they can't afford to spend too much time investigating cases and trying the criminals in court. Staff and money are both short. Crimes are usually pinned on the first suspicious person.
That's terrible. I suppose it's the harsh reality of the workings of the world's greatest justice system.
I suppose it is, but in that case, I don't hold out much hope for Soseki-san. Thank you for answering so many of our questions, Iris. This has been very informative.
Oh, you're most welcome. I've had so much fun.
Do you happen to know where Mr. Sholmes is at the moment? As you've guessed, we'd like to ask him some questions about this case as well.
Oh, well. I expect Hurley is still investigating the scene.
Of the case involving Mr. Natsume, you mean?
Yes, Mr. Natsume? Hurley said he was going to the man's lodgings. If you leave now, you'll probably catch him there.
Iris, do you know where these lodgings are?
Well, I imagine the police are still investigating the scene of the crime themselves, aren't they? Did you happen to come across a detective by the name of Gregson while you were there?
Yes, we know Inspector Gregson.
Ah, goody! In that case, give Gregsy this from me, would you? If you do that, I'm sure he'll tell you what you want to know.
What is this?
A 5-shilling piece and a postcard, it seems.
Bribery.
It reads, "Tell the gentleman in black whatever he wants to know. I trust that it won't be a problem." Gosh, this will make the inspector help us, will it?
Well, thank you, Iris. We'll give it a try.
Good luck then. I'm going to return to writing my manuscript, The Speckled Band. And I'll be making more special blends of tea, so come back again soon.
We'd be delighted. Thank you so much, Iris.
Why, boy?
Well, Mr. Naruhodo, it's back to the scene of the crime.
Her voice was... Like, listen, I can't do high-pitched, cutesy characters. It hurts my voice. So, somewhat dubious of what they would... that they would exert any influence over the men of Scotland Yard at all, we headed back to the scene with Iris's curious note and one of the world's heaviest silver coins in hand. To be continued, probably. Yup, there it is. There she blows. Yeah, let's save. Yeah, boy, let's get back to it. I think it's safe to say we will not be finishing this case today. Just so you guys know. I'm not going to do a marathon 5-hour stream like we did on Friday. I can't do it. It looks as though the police are still here carrying on with their investigation.
Perfect. So let's find Inspector Gregson as quickly as possible.
Yes, and let's see if he'll take a break from his chips to look at that silver tip Iris gave us for him. What's up, sir? Would you like some money? Inspector Gregson, do you have a moment? Sorry to say I don't. I'm a very busy man. Much too busy to talk to a foreign gandabouts, that's for sure.
We have these for you. A present from Miss Iris Wilson.
What? For me? From her ladyship? Oh, he's a simp. Her ladyship? Give that here, at once! Come on, hand it over, that's for me! Yeah, don't wait for me to give it to you, will you? What was that coin exactly? It's a silver crown, obviously. It's a lot more than that. It's, well, it's an appearance fee is what it is.
An appearance fee? Oh, I see. You mean...
That's right, for the adventures of Sherlock Sholmes. Her ladyship always offers me a little financial reward for featuring me. Every time.
Yes, of course. I know all about your exploits, Inspector. I read them avidly. Oh, Kenshi Art, thank you for the follow. Welcome to the stream squad. Or, thank you for the host. I was not looking at the screen. Of course, I using my name without my say-so does make me the butt of a lot of unpleasant jokes, but still. I am sorry, Inspector. That must be difficult for you. Never you mind that. So, what do you want to know then, eh? Sorry? Tell the gentleman in black whatever he wants to know. I trust that won't be a problem, it says. Well, obviously it's not a problem. Go on, fire away. What do you want to know?
Well, if you wouldn't mind, Inspector, we'd very much like to know the address of Mr. Natsume's lodgings.
Ah, little knife-wielding mustache Japanese fellow. He lives in a right old hovel. It's just over there. Look. On the first floor of that house on the corner where that wreck of a bicycle's propped up. How does he ride that thing?
That is nearby indeed.
If I remember rightly, the landlord is a Mr. John Garib. Right, well, if you see her again, you make sure to give her ladyship my regards, yeah? I mean it. You tell her that Gregson sends his very best wishes. Don't worry, Inspector, we will. Good boy for now, then. And long live her ladyship. Fucking simp. Now let me check something.
Well, at least he told us what we wanted to know before he left.
Yes, so then shall we go see what we can find in Mr. Natsume's lodgings?
Definitely.
Let's go! I would like to enter the house, please. I would like to see my little boy. I want to see my little boy. Sholmes! Show me. Oh, hello. You're not Sholmes.
May I help you?
Yes. Would this be the residence of Mr. John Garrideb?
Indeed it would, sir. And who may I say is calling?
My name is Ryunosuke Naruhodo.
Mr. Naruhodo is representing Mr. Soseki Natsume. I believe he takes lodgings here? Ooh. We would very much like to ask him some questions about our client. One moment, please. I shall convey the message to Mr. Garrideb.
Did you see that, Miss Susato? That was a real-life English maid.
I know. As I understand it, anyone of standing in English society employs a number of household staff. But that was the first time I've ever seen one in the flesh. Oh, this day keeps getting better.
Certainly feels like we've really arrived now, doesn't it?
We need to only meet a butler and the experience will be complete.
Well, I'm not sure if I'd go that far, but I understand the sentiment.
Thank you for waiting. Mr. Garrideb will see you now. This way.
Oh, that's a fucking looking dude. Oops. Hello, sir. Good day to you. John Garrideb at your service.
Pleased to meet you, sir. This is Ryunosuke Naruhodo. He's a defense lawyer.
Do excuse me not getting up. Took a shot to the knee a few years back in the Battle of Maywan, don't you know? Earned a medal for my pains, but I had to withdraw from the service. Handed over the reins to the up-and-comings. So he's a retired soldier. It's a hell of a job getting up and down stairs now, I can tell you. Don't get out much, as you can imagine. Yes, it's quite a climb up here to the second floor, isn't it? I was panting at the top of the stairs.
You really must take more exercise, Mr. Naruhodo.
Do you think so?
Well, Mr. Garrideb, no doubt you were very courageous to earn yourself a medal.
Oh, it was nothing. The medal's just a folderol, really. Wouldn't like to offend the general, though, so I grudgingly displayed it on the wall. Why don't you fetch it down, Joan? Let these good people see it properly. Joan, fetch the... Ah! Oh, no! Gosh darn it, woman, be careful!
Oh, dearie me, I do beg your pardon, sir.
You jolly nearly took the skin off me hands.
I shall be more careful, sir.
So anyway, there you have it. Living the quiet life now. Yes, I see. Now then, I hear you want to know about the chap lodging downstairs, is that right?
Yes, we would be very grateful to you if you could answer some questions for us.
Only too pleased, naturally. Especially if it helps to keep the peace here in Blighty. Bro, gross. We forged an alliance with the Empire of Japan recently, as I'm sure you're aware. So this case is very much in the public eye, as it were. Oh, is it? Even had some famous detective poking around, you know. In this old house, would you believe?
Yes, Mr. Herlock Sholmes, where is he? Show him to me!
Could have been. Didn't catch the chap's name. Not really my cup of tea, all that detective business.
Oh, but do you have a copy of Rance magazine? So...
Yeah? No, Anyway,
the chap's investigating the floor in his room as we speak.
show me my mans! So he's in Soseki-san's room. It's a bawling nuisance is what it is. The whole neighborhood's twitching its curtains now. I don't like all this fuss. It's jolly unsettling. Yeah, how did you get that cannon upstairs, bruh?
About Mr. Natsume then, Mr. Garridim. Please do tell us.
Oh yes, a Japanese chap. Only been lodging here for a week. Oh, just a week? So we moved in very recently then. I have 2 lodges most of the time, on the ground floor and one just below us. The first floor room became available a week ago, you see. I've been... Ah! Dash it all, Joan, do be careful!
Oh, my goodness, I'm terribly sorry, sir. If you want to know my opinion, I thought he was a shady sort from the moment I set eyes on him.
Oh, why?
He seemed to have a most nervous disposition, always shaking and looking over his shoulder. The man had shady written across his sweat-soaked brow, if you ask me. I said to myself, Joan, that man is trouble. Sooner or later he's going to do something untoward. And I'm rarely wrong about anything.
We won't be calling this maid as a witness, that's for sure.
Was there anything else that struck you as suspicious about the man at all?
Yes. Oh, yes, indeed there was.
And she's dying to tell us. Had you noticed anything else at all about your lodger, Mr. Natsume?
Oh my word, yes, the man was shadier than an orchard.
Could you elaborate?
Well, take the man's room. Absolutely stuffed full of books it is, more than anyone could ever read. And he never so much as passes a time of day without another living soul. I haven't seen a single visitor call. He just trots off to that whole bookshop every single day and comes back at 5 to light the gas fire. And the funny little man is up long past the time everyone else in the house has gone to bed too.
Oh, I see.
The gentleman on the ground floor goes to bed at around 9 each night. But I've never known that Japanese fellow to retire any earlier than 2 in the morning.
Ah. Could you clarify something, I wonder?
What, pray?
How do you know so much about Mr. Natsume's routine? Oh! Yeah, she's frickin' keeping an eye on him. Creepy.
I'd understood that neither of the lodgers live on this floor of the house, is that correct?
That's right, yes. They're both below us. On the first floor and the street level. Oh, street level!
Then, how is it that you know so much about the lives of your lodgers? The precise times that they have come back in the evening, for example. Even the times they go to bed.
There's no cameras, so what are you doing? Frickin' stalking them? Yeah! Good grief, Joan! Do be more careful, woman!
Oh my goodness, sir! I'm terribly sorry, sir!
Something doesn't add up here. Yeah, no shit. It seems that the incident took place at around 5 in the evening. Did you happen to look out of the window around that time? The window?
Yes, we noticed that the window over there looks out over Briar Road. The incident took place on the pavement just on the far side of the street. Was there anyone suspicious loitering nearby?
5 o'clock is dinner time in the Garrideb household. So I'm afraid I don't remember seeing anything. How about you, Joan?
No, sir. It would have been dusk outside already at that hour.
And with the fog as well, I should think it'd have been quite impossible to see the other side of the road.
Oh, I see. Good, I don't have to call them as a witness.
Did you notice anything else out of the ordinary then?
Such as?
Anything at all, even if it seems unrelated.
Well. Yes, was there something then? Well, it's nothing particularly significant, but around that sort of time in here. Ah! For the love of God, Joan, watch what you're doing!
Oh, dearie me, what have I done? I'm awfully sorry, sir.
Do be more careful, woman.
Of course, sir. If I may, Mr. Naru Hollow.
Yes.
I have an exceedingly good memory, and as far as I remember, nothing of any significance took place here at that hour. Nothing at all.
Oh, really? Mr. Garrideb? The way you were talking before, it sounded like there might have... It sounded rather like there might have been. Hang on, I'm looking at... Oh, I missed that text, damn it! I was trying to check something. Bedereg? I was trying to see if maybe his name was something backwards, but it doesn't seem like it is. Joe! Dash it all, what's the matter with you, woman?
Begging your pardon, sir. Nothing happened.
Oh, she's hiding some shit. Yes, quite. Nothing happened. We sat down to a quiet, uneventful meal. Joan?
That's right, Mr. Garrideb.
What is the matter with these two?
That said something happened here in this room on the evening of the incident.
But what? Wish I knew. Sus AF. Could you tell us which floor Mr. Natsume's room is on? Boy, certainly. Just below us on the first floor.
And Mr. Sholmes is investigating there even as we speak?
Yes, told me Nats's name had asked to look into the matter, so I gave him the key.
Mr. Natsume has engaged Mr. Sholmes' services?
That's a blatant lie. Would it be alright if we also had a look around? In Mr. Natsume's room, I mean. Don't see one all. It's just one flight of stairs. Who knows if we'll find anything that could help us with the case, but we have to try. We need all the clues we can to lay our hand. We need all the clues we can lay our hands on, shall we? Yes! I want to see my little boy! Give him to me!
Yes, and while we're there, we can speak with Mr. Sholmes again. Perhaps he'll be able to tell us more.
Please. I want to see my little boy! Oh, wait, that's not the right button. There we go. Show him to me! Show me my boy! Oh, I saw... Cat! Cat! What? Just look at this place. And smell it. It's so musty in here. I suppose it's the mountains of old books that are responsible for that.
I don't think I've ever seen so many books in all my life.
No, me neither. It's so dark in here, too. Fucking window's boarded up. Is that the window over there? Well, it was the window, I think, yes, once upon a time. But for some reason, it's been closed up with bricks and mortar. So this is where Mr. Natsume lives.
By the way, I haven't spotted Mr. Sholmes anywhere, have you?
Where is he? Show him to me. No, that's true, but according to what Mr. Garrett told us, the great detective should be around here somewhere investigating. It's gonna be a thing where we pan to the left, and he's gonna be there, and I'm gonna scream, because he's gonna be doing something stupid. Where is he? Look at... Okay, we have to examine the most important thing in the room first. Ah!
Kitten! Oh no, don't come back! I love you! Oh my, what an adorable little cat! Perhaps he's looking after all the books while his master is away.
I don't know about that. He disappeared in that pile of books as quick as a flash. It was a tricolor Mike, wasn't it? They even have that sort of cat here in Great Britain?
Perhaps Mr. Natsume brought the little creature with him from Japan.
That's made me feel homesick now.
Already? We've only just been in the country for 2 days.
Kitty! Oh look, there's another one. It's fake, but still.
Oh look, it's a beckoning cat from home!
It's a bit big and bulky, isn't it? Surely Mr. Natsume didn't bring that Maneki Neko all the way from Japan with him.
I hardly think you're in a position to comment, Mr. Naruhodo. Are you forgetting the enormous Daruma doll you brought in your luggage?
Well, it can be dangerous traveling abroad. I wanted a lucky charm. Oh boy.
Well, I imagine Mr. Natsume wanted the same, and this cat is sure to beckon good luck to him.
It's not doing a very good job so far, is it? Oof.
You mustn't say such things.
I didn't say a word. Why are my eyes such a giveaway? What else is there to look at? Big pile of books. Look at all those books stacked up there. They almost reach the ceiling.
They're all works of English literature, and they all smell so musty.
With this volume of books to hand, you'd never be short of reading material, would you?
No, what a dreamy idea.
A bad dream, maybe. For me, at least. Mind you, I don't imagine the book that's at the bottom of the pile now will ever be read again.
Ah, so reading is an experience that comes but once in a lifetime, just as a tea ceremony teaches us.
I certainly didn't expect the conversation to turn down the pathway of tea ceremony philosophy. Where is my man's? Show him to me!
That desk seems to be wedged into a crevice between the mountains of books on either side.
I suppose Mr. Natsume would sit here and read while stroking his cat. But surrounded on all sides by these towering old tomes, surely he dreamt of books every night as well.
Yes, he must have done, mustn't he? Oh! What's this? It's a receipt from a secondhand bookshop. Your books.
Oh, yes, Mr. Natsume's name is on it, look. And the date of purchase, 2 days ago at 4:45 p.m. That's the day of the incident.
That's just a short while before he was embroiled in the terrible attack. He must have been on his way back from buying some books.
Secondhand book receipt added to the court record. Thank you. Where is my boy? Show me my boy. He's gonna bust through the brick window like the Kool-Aid Man. Could you even call this a window?
I think so. It was a window at one time, after all. Although all that remains is a frame around some bricks now.
So really, it's just a wall then, isn't it? Why would anyone deliberately brick it up like that?
I'm afraid I have no idea. Ah! Perhaps Mr. Natsume painted the brick design on in a fit of whimsy.
Ugh, that's alarmingly feasible. Anyway, whatever the reason, the lack of ventilation in here makes the place very oppressive.
It does. I imagine being cooped up in a room like this would be extremely trying.
Where is my boy? Show him to me. Where is my man's? Show him. Ah, there he is! You were not there earlier, sir. Oh, look at him. Look at him. Give me a minute. I'm just gonna look at him for a second. He's so relaxed. He was not there earlier, though, sir. There's my lad. Hello.
Aha! Look, Mr. Naruhodo.
Look at him, just fucking chilling. Aha! There he is. Where did he appear from?
He seems to be engrossed in the pages of an old book. I hope you won't mind if we disturb him. Hello, Mr. Sholmes?
There he is! Hi, Sholmes! god, I am such a simp. I'm sorry. I love him so much. Oh god. Look at him. I missed you. I missed you so much, sir. Ah, you too. Good day. Now, let me see. Where was it that we met?
Oh, Mr. Sholmes, we were together on the SS Buria.
Yes, of course, the Buria. I don't remember how I did his voice. Fuck. And let me see. What happened on that voyage? It was Kazuma Sogi. He died. Tragically. But you were a great help to us. Ah, yes, but of course, the case of Mr. Asogi. It was the one with the snake, wasn't it? I mean, I guess.
Oh,
Well, you seem to remember something of it at least.
what an honor to be remembered vaguely by the great Herlock Sholmes. This is Mr.
Oh, no, my dear madam, hold your tongue. I pride myself on my superior powers of recollection. Your names are safely recorded in my brain attic. Miss Naruhodo. And Mr. Suzato. Oh no, buddy. Try the other way around, Mr. Sholmes. I lose on the first round. I love him. He's so dumb. In truth, I had hoped to invite you both to my big street suite the day we arrived in London. Some Scotland Yard has ambushed me on the railway station and whisked me away to the crime scene. It was an entirely trivial case, of course. I solved the matter in no more than 30 minutes. So they apprehended Soseki-san in that short of amount of time? I'm afraid the pursuance of a new case has dulled my recollection of past events' involvements a little. A little? It's a mistake to think the one's brain attic has elastic walls and can distend to any extent. I do my best to forget useless facts, lest they elbow out the useful ones. Yes, those are my own words of inimitable wisdom, you know, from an adventure entitled A Study in Scarlet. Please, there's no need to quote yourself. I don't always remember my pearls of wisdom, but fortunately my associate pens them beautifully. He means Iris, I suppose.
Mr. Sholmes, we have some extremely important questions to ask you about the trivial case you just mentioned.
Goodness, what an earnest expression. My dear madam, I should be only too pleased, and this murky room is an apt place to discuss the murky case. I love him. I'm not sorry, I love him. Look at him. He's stupid. Just a couple of rocks banging around in that head of his. God, and when two of them clack together, it creates the illusion of thought. I love him. We know this to be the lodgings of a Japanese foreign student by the name of Soseki Natsume. It seems you assisted in his arrest, Mr. Sholmes, for the stabbing of a young woman outside here on Briar Road. Natsume? Yes, I believe it was a name rather along those lines.
But Mr. Natsume denies it. Was it really justifiable to arrest him on so little?
I'm sorry, Miss Suzato, but I have not the slightest idea what you mean.
What?
Because he was just saying, yes, I did it. I can't believe he was looking at Suzato-san squarely in the eye while feigning ignorance. I assure you, I'm not merely feigning ignorance. It would appear as though the pair of you are under some misapprehension. Oh? How? I assure you, I have no recollection of accusing your stupid compatriot of the crime. But that doesn't make sense. The good detectives of Scotland Yard made the following request to me, and I quote verbatim. We need you to ascertain the identity and whereabouts of a man seen fleeing the crime scene. A man seen fleeing? There were a number of books scattered about the pavement on the scene. From the book plates, I was quickly able to determine the bookshop from which they had been purchased. And speaking with the proprietor, I was immediately led to this address. Elementary, wouldn't you say? I believe there was a receipt around here somewhere from the establishment in question. So you don't think Mr. Natsume is the culprit, then? That I could not tell you. But it was aggravating my faculties, hence why I turned up here. However, this place is such a trove of fascinating books, I find myself quite lost in bibliophily. Bibliophily? I don't know. Do not be deceived into believing that I am a man of leisure. No.
Oh dear.
I love him. Look at him go. I feel like I'm not doing his voice the exact same. It's gonna evolve, I'm sorry. Tell me.
Have you encountered the landlord of these lodgings? Yes, Mr. Garrett, a retired military man.
It was the first time I've ever met a soldier from the Great Britain institution that is the services.
And it was the first time I'd ever met a maid from the Great British institution that is service. But, shh. I didn't think it was that funny. I do apologize. As you may well be aware, many households in London employ a maid.
Yes, I read as much in my Great Britain primer.
And so conversely, whether or not a household employs a maid has come to betoken the social standing of those dwelling there within. Betoken their social standing? Sorry? Put simply, my dear fellow, those who employ at least a single maid are considered middle class. Those who do not are beneath that. In the upper echelons of society, of course, households employ enough staff to constitute a large family.
Goodness, how extraordinary.
As you can appreciate, for those on the precarious boundary between the middle and lower classes, being able to afford just one maid is of the first importance. I had no idea. And it is for precisely that reason that I find great stimulation in the situation upstairs. Specifically in the retired military army veteran Mr. John Garrinib. Oh? Affable as he is, the fellow is hiding something. Whether or not it imposes on the circumstances of this case, I am yet unable to ascertain. I'm thoroughly lost on what he means to say. Use big words, confuse me. This room is thoroughly suffocating the soul, my dear fellow. I assure you, any man whose lot is to dwell in a place like this will stab at somebody sooner or later.
Mr. Natsume has stabbed no one.
Ah, but sooner or later, as I said.
I don't believe that's the issue here.
About this dark little room, Mr. Sholmes. Why is there no longer a window? Do you have any idea? No window? Well, I mean, I can clearly see that there is a window of sorts. But it's been completely blocked with bricks. Ah, I see. The answer to that question is quite simple. Window tax. What? Window tax? What is that?
Surely not a tax on windows.
Precisely that.
Oh my goodness!
Until relatively recently, a tax was levied on households in this country by the number of their windows. Those of lesser means, having inherited a sizable and costly family home perhaps, rapidly closed windows up. While the rich opened windows here, there, and everywhere. Is that a real thing? Holy shit. In an effort to curry favor with those in power by furnishing them with large sums of tax money.
How awful! And unjust! Forcing people to live in rooms devoid of light?
Indeed, disease was rife as a result. So some 40 years ago or thereabouts, the window tax was abolished. But its legacy remains, as you can see, in squalid-looking lodgings such as these, for example. I suppose Mr. Natsume's stipend for living here in London isn't very generous, perhaps. It would appear so. I've done a little digging, and discovered that these lodgings were offered at an extraordinarily low price.
Because the room is so awful, I should think.
Apparently Mr. Natsume only moved in here about 1 week ago. Yes, that's correct. Oh. Yes, that's correct. However, I don't believe the low rent is explained by the shabby nature of the accommodation. This tax was first imposed in England in 1696. It was intended to be a progressive tax that houses with smaller number of windows, initially 10, were subject to a 2-shilling house tax but exempt from the window tax. Huh. That's fucked up. Oh? Still, that is of little relevance here. Matter not worthy of further attention. Are you sure? I'm curious now. Well, I believe I've told you all I can now. Thank you, Mr. Sholmes. Ah, yes, Mr. Naruhodo. Was it not your intention to become a practitioner of law? You remembered that, did you? Will you perhaps be offering your services in this very matter, I wonder? To the occupant of this room, Mr. Natsume, was it? I'm not sure. Not sure? On what grounds? Well, I actually defended someone in court here only yesterday. Really? Well, then I congratulate you, son, on ambition realized. And so promptly, too. And the thing is, it's really made me question things. Am I right to believe in my clients? To trust in their innocence? Yes, trust. Mr. Sholmes. Mr. Natsume didn't do it, did he? My dear fellow, I haven't the first idea. Oh, but I thought that's why you were here. Didn't you come back to investigate? Ah, yes, that was indeed my initial intention. But there are simply too many fascinating books here. I couldn't possibly ignore them. Oh my god, he's so stupid! Oh, I see. Nevertheless, there are two facts that I can state quite unequivocally. The man who fled the scene of the crime 2 days ago was the Japanese occupant of this room, and there are witnesses who swear to having seen the same man commit the crime. That is all I can say. And one more thing. Oh, what is it, Mr. Sholmes? Tell us. I cannot say with any certainty whether or not it is of relevance to this case, but I am quite sure that the retired army man who owns this property is hiding something. Mr. Garrett is? Mr. Sholmes said as much before initially, didn't he? Anyway, at present that is really all that plays on my mind in relation to this case. Mr. Naruhodo, as yet our investigations have uncovered nothing that could help establish Mr. Natsume's innocence. No, you're right. Perhaps it's time we probed a little deeper into Mr. Garrett's secret. Just remember, I cannot be sure whether the landlord's secret will prove to be of relevance or not. But I wish you every success, of course, Mr. Naruhodo. A busy man indeed. He's gone back to his book in the corner of the room. He just lives there now. He just lives here now. Go back and talk to these punks. Ah, you pair again. Tell me, was a detective chap, I forget his name, still hard at work down there? Mr. Herlock Sholmes? Ah, yes, rings a vague bell. All that detective business isn't really my thing, I'm afraid. Well, Mr. Sholmes is in his element down there. Jolly good shout. Another cup of tea, if you please, Joan. Now then, why don't you tell me what— Yeah! For the umpteenth time, woman, will you watch what you're bolly well doing?
I shall be serving dinner shortly, sir.
Yes, of course. Frightfully rude of me, but I'm afraid I shall have to ask you to take your leave if you'd be so kind.
Oh, yes, of course. We are deeply grateful for your assistance.
Not at all, not at all. Don't get much chance to talk to many young foreigners like yourselves. It's been a pleasure. Best of luck and all that. Perhaps you could see yourselves out. Okay, I guess we're just not allowed to talk to them anymore. According to Mr. Sholmes, Mr. Garrett is hiding something. And since no other avenues of investigation seem open to us at the moment, perhaps we should do some digging. I can't talk, but we sure as hell can look around this room at his stuff.
Look at that enormous screen. It must have been put there deliberately, surely.
Yes, it certainly seems like someone's trying to hide something from view. What could be behind it, I wonder?
I'm going to have a very quick look. Just a little peek. Ahem! Ahem!
Maybe let's not, Miss Susato. I think the maid is gonna head us off with a cup of tea.
Ahem! Ahem!
We're just not allowed to look at anything.
This window looks out over Briar Road where the young woman was attacked.
Oh yes, I can make out the policeman on the far
side of the road investigating the crime scene.
The glass is rather murky, isn't it? You can't see very clearly.
Is this thing open at all, I wonder?
I shouldn't underestimate the bitterness of a London winter, sir.
Sorry?
As soon as you open that window, the tea will freeze and pot. No Londoner would go opening windows at dusk in the middle of winter, I assure you.
Seems very unlikely that these two would have seen anything of the incident then. Yeah, you said something about the medal earlier.
That looks like a Medal of Honor, and it's showcased on a very grand banner.
Yes, it's displayed with some pride, I would say. Although it bothers me that it's not straight. What, that old thing? Sorry? Well, I should be glad to see the back of it, but the general would turn in his grave if I disposed of it. The wall's the best place for it. Keeps the bully thing out of my way. So it's just been polished to shine by accident, I suppose.
There appears to be an inscription on the medal itself. Look. Let me see. It says, "For distinguished participation."
Sounds like the kind of honors even I could be in line for. Well, one doesn't like to blow one's own trumpet, but I was given that for my time in the army. Can't measure an officer by the number of medals to his name, of course. Common knowledge in military circles. That uniform looks fairly ancient, doesn't it?
It's clearly been well looked after, though.
That old thing! Ha! Not much better than rags, really. Oh? Wore that ceremonial garb to my retirement bash, you know. But I'm not one for dwelling on the past, me. Would have gladly thrown it out, but you know how it is. And it's hanging on your wall. Anyway, it doesn't have to have the odd piece of memorabilia lying around, does it?
Oh, I see.
Perhaps we should leave the past in the past. Amen. Now I want to know about this fucking cannon. That's a full-sized cannon! What's it doing in here?
Oh my, it's real! I thought it might be a replica.
That old thing! Ha! That's little more than a toy. Sorry? The army was selling it off when I retired, so I decided to give it a new home. Never know when the enemy might attack next. Jolly useful to have a cannon about the house. Really? It isn't overkill? Be prepared, I always say. You never know what this twisted world is going to throw at you next, boy. Boy.
Do you think there may be trouble brewing, Mr. Garrett?
Always is. Take Jonia. Never fails to have a clean apron in reserve. Dries them out over the barrel, you see. They dry very well on the cannoneer, Joan tells me, which rather proves my point, I feel. It's been reduced to a drying rack. No wonder the huge cannon looks like it's hanging its head in shame. Anything else? Oh yeah, there's stuff over here. Hey! Oi! Sholmes! Get off the banister! Sir! Get out of the window! Oh, look! How did he get up here without... No, I don't want to look at the cupcakes! I'm seeing a man's ass right now!
What a wonderful collection of cakes lined up on that gleaming silver cake stand.
Lined up? Looks more like someone has half demolished them to me. No, get out of the way! I'm trying to look at my son. My boy. My lad. I want to see the Sholmes ass! Yes, I do! He's not my son. Renosuke is my son. Sholmes is my emotional support himbo and I wish to see him at all times.
Afternoon tea is a time of indulgence, you know. It's quite the English way. It's Mr. Garrett's custom to take 2 cakes with his tea. That sounds delightful.
Sir, that's my emotional support himbo. Oh, wait a minute though. We're just looking at him in the background though. There are at least 10 cakes on this cake stand.
Well, naturally. And it would never do to waste the leftovers. So whatever Mr. Garrett doesn't eat, I say to myself, Joan, you shall have to tidy up.
How magnanimous of you. So she just eats them all? Is that the implication there? Sir! Oh, what's he doing over there? Hello, Sholmes? Mr. Sholmes? Aha! We meet again, my dear fellows. Good gracious, when did you sneak in here? No, my question exactly. Sherlock Sholmes, at your service.
Whatever were you doing over by the window?
I am given to watching the evening sky as the sun sets, madam. Yet, sadly, cheerful as the room downstairs undoubtedly is, it lacks an aperture for such observation. So I took the liberty of borrowing a small corner of space by the window up here. Well, keeping an eye to one's windows at dusk is the prudent thing to do in London, I'm gathering. Ah, and one other thing, Mr. Naruhodo. Oh, me? I thought perhaps you might be in need of certain great detectives. Great mind. Yes, show me the rocks that you shake around in there, please. I would love to do a little spinny dance with you again. Wait, he's not talking about... Is he? I didn't expect to be going through that again so soon. Do you mean, Mr. Sholmes? There is a mighty secret in this modest room. My eyes see even the most trivial of trifles. I take it you're prepared, Mr. Naruhodo. I think so. There is just time enough for one of my greatly admired great deductions. Let us conclude the matter before dark. Yay! I'm clapping my Joy-Cons together. Yay! Mr. Gerardib, though it would seem you are a military man of considerably distinguished service, your standing as a landlord is most certainly not what one might call first-rate. I'm afraid, sir, that it is all too clear to me. There are two conclusions that I have been able to draw by careful observation of your living arrangements. I beg your pardon? First, is that even as we speak, you are concealing the presence of a ferocious beast in your care. Eh? And the second is that as a result of the beast's violent rampage, you have lost something very dear to you. Mr. Naruhodo, look! The old man's broken out in a cold sweat. Unbelievably, it seems Mr. Sholmes' conclusions are both spot on. How? How could you possibly? How could I possibly know, you mean to inquire? The answer couldn't be simpler, sir. For in the dense jungle of logic and reasoning, I am the king of beasts. Yeah. And to know only too well that wild beasts are not easily tamed. So, shall we begin? Once again, Sherlock Sholmes is proud to present his Logic and Reasoning Spectacular. Yay! Let's spin around. Yay! I'm excited. The game is afoot! Nature of the beast. It certainly shouldn't take a great detective to see that a fearsome beast has been on the rampage of late within these four walls. Thus, we are faced with the question, what form might this beast take? Ah, for a man with military breeding, your eyes are uncomfortably candid. Your furtive glance, Mr. Gerardib, leads us directly to the answer. The true nature of the beast that has run rampant here is revealed by that lion statue. Yes, though an army man, you appear unimposing at best. A fact that has fueled your admiration for the mighty lion, the king of beasts. What is this piffle, I ask you? In the end, your admiration became so great, in fact, that you had a living, breathing specimen shipped from India, which you tried to keep in this very house. What? Yet living with such a wild beast proved more difficult than you had imagined. Chilling traces of a wild rampage are still very much in evidence. Well... Yet as we look around, the beast in question fails to present itself. Where could this angry creature have disappeared to? Madam?
Me?
I pray you do not consider me unchivalrous, but it is plain to me that with one glance in your direction...
It is?
Your dress pocket gives them a handsome clue as to the beast's current whereabouts. For protruding from it is a handbill advertising a circus show.
Ah!
Yes, you sought to dispose of this terrifying lion, Mr. Gerardib, at Batty's Circus, a travelling show currently sojourning in a nearby park. I have observed the tents. You sold the savage lion, sir, to the circus troupe. I most certainly did not. I believe I have made my point. The fearsome beast which ran amok in this room was an Indian lion. I'm sorry, I need to take a pause for just a moment. It could just be the perspective, but are we to believe that this man is a head taller than a doorframe? Is Sherlock Holmes fucking 8 feet tall? Sorry, Herlock Sholmes. How tall is this man? I need to know. I need to know how tall this man is. Do you think that that information is readily available on the internet? Hang on. I'm doing very important detective work right now. I hope I don't get spoiled by the wiki. I just want to know how tall he is. Give me a height. Give me a height. Okay, the wiki actually does have his height. He is 6 feet tall. There we go. Oh, Ollie did a 4B2 also, thank you. I guess it was just the perspective, but it wigged me out enough where it was just like, sir, how tall are you, sir? And a simple visit to the circus now will reveal the lion prancing jubilantly through a ring of fire. I don't think anything prances jubilantly through a ring of fire, but sure. Listen, shut up. Now, Mr. Garadeb. It is plainly clear that you still have deep feelings for this formidable beast. Vampworth is apparently 6'4". Oh, he's a tall boy. You can climb him like a tree. Indeed, in that blithe pose, the distress this loss has caused you is veritably tangible. Your head weighs heavy on your shoulders, the pain you feel being revealed by that supporting arm. Amidst fits of tears, you let your beloved beast go. The strain of losing something so dear to you is clearly visible in your visage. Nonsense, man, I simply... But what, we must now ask ourselves, is the true cause of this pain? And we need only follow direction of your gaze to find the answer. Yes, it is this pile of bills that has given rise to the pain you suffer. Every envelope contains another demand for payment. Ah. For cartloads of meat, potatoes, wheat, and tea. Indeed, feeding your beloved has a devastating impact on the financial circumstances of your household. And so you had no choice but to let it go. Yes, well, Now, in a final fit of rage, the ferocious beast carried out one last imaginable attack.
But unimaginable?
The aftermath of which can be clearly seen by observing the carpet over there. A very expensive woolen carpet, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh, dearie me.
What could have caused such a destructive outburst?
Ah.
This time, madam, I'm afraid it is you who has been inadvertently revealed the truth to me. Your wandering eye has settled upon the answer very neatly indeed. Yes, to explain the dire state of the carpet, we need only look at the Tower of Cakes. Ah! There is no creature more dangerous on this earth than a beast with an unsatiated appetite. Was it or was it not once said by a certain noblewoman, if they have no bread, let them eat cake? Food is at the heart of all tragedy, in fact.
Whatever do you mean?
Having tired of the taste of cake, the beast began to stalk its next prey. I'm sure I need not spell out the nature of this final act of destruction carried out by the beast. I bet the beast is the cat that's living downstairs. There is only one logical conclusion. Worked into a frenzy by hunger, the lion attacked and ate the carpet. The teeth marks in the carpet are a perfect match with those of a lion I once saw in India. He's so dumb. I'm literally chins handing right now. Chin handsing. He's so dumb. I just want to look at him. Look at him. His fucking little smirk. I just want to like put 2 pieces of bread on the side of his head and be like, you're an idiot sandwich. I love him. I am enamored by his dumbassery. Yeah, basically. His mouth hanging open Sprite. Yeah. What is the matter with you, Joan? You're pouring scalding hot tea all over me.
Oh, I'm sorry, Mr. Garrideb. I'm afraid I didn't notice.
My deductions can be startlingly sharp. It stands to reason that your cup runneth over. Indeed, my revelations can make people spill tears at times too.
Oh.
Mr. Sholmes, sorry to butt in again, but could I make an observation? Why, certainly, Mr. Naruhodo. What is it again? Well, your deductions just now. Do you really think a lion could have fit inside a room of this size? Indeed, it is the only explanation for the facts. The terrifying truth all too often lies beyond the realms of common sense. But wouldn't it be an idea to consider what lies inside the realms of common sense as well?
But if an uncaged lion had run amok in this very room, surely Mr. Garrideb and his maid would have been hurt, or worse.
Ah, that's where you are stuck. No doubt the former military man held his own against the beast using that large cannon. I thought you said they sold the lion to the circus.
And what about the food? Meat and potatoes are one thing. But I don't believe I've ever heard of a lion that drinks tea.
Ah, my dear Miss Susato, it occurs to me with some regularity that irrespective of race and breeding, whenever anyone lands on Great Britain soil, they are infused with a highly appropriate taste for afternoon tea.
Oh, what a glorious notion. Well then, Mr. Naruhodo, it's your turn to shine again.
I had a feeling that was coming.
A slight massage, that's all Mr. Sholmes' deductions need. You can do it.
Excellent. I've been waiting for my trusty partner in deduction to step forward, Mr. Naruhodo. We don't even know whether or not this is going to help with Mr. Natsume's case. Still, uncovering the truth is always worthwhile, whatever the motivation. At least, that's what I want to believe. Let us start again, from the beginning, of Herlock Sholmes' logic and reasoning spectacular. Let's go! Course correction. Hold it, Mr. Sholmes. God, I love them. Take a big detective to see. Here's some beast on the rampage. Thus we are faced with the question, what form might this beast take? For the man with military breeding, your eyes are uncommonly candid. A furtive glance leads us directly to the answer. The true nature of the beast that has run rampant here, revealed by that lion statue. Not quite. I really didn't see the lion thing coming.
No, but if you observe Mr. Garrideb's reaction, it rather seems as though some beast did run amok here in this room.
Yes, something with very fierce nature.
But it couldn't have been a lion transported from India.
So what was it then?
We must follow Mr. Garrideb's gaze. That will lead us to the true answer.
What else could there be? What really caused the damage in the room? These are shells for the cannon, are they? What a strange place to keep them.
I imagine they have some significance to Mr. Garrideb, for his time in the army. Ah, of course, he mentioned a battle book to us before, didn't he? You remember? He said that he'd been shot in the knee. Took an arrow to the knee. Perhaps it was one of these that hit him.
If a round that size had hit his knee, there'd be nothing left of it. Or Mr. Garrideb, for that matter. Mr. Sholmes has a Persian slipper. And this man has spent shells. Perhaps it's customary in Britain to display, well, rubbish on the mantelpiece. Aha! Hello! Cat? What's this photograph? Or person?
It appears to be from Mr. Garrideb's wedding.
Oh, I took it for a cat because it looked like there was a paw, but I guess that's a person's hand holding a ring. Oh, she's his wife. And she's posing as a maid to make them seem high society.
He looks very happy, doesn't he?
He does, but you can't make out his bride. Oh, how unfortunate. Something must have struck the glass directly over the woman's face. I wonder what happened. Probably best not to delve too deeply there.
Take that!
Oh, no? I wanted to see the photo, though. Centerpiece, there's almost deliberately hidden from you as a photograph, though, except I did examine it in detail, hey! I've been employing an extremely advanced detection technique called jumping to conclusions, you see. I did examine it! What spectacularly contrived logic led you to this mindless conclusion? Oh, well, it's supposed to be logic and reasoning spectacular, so I thought I'd contribute to the show. This is my show, Mr. Naruhodo. Kindly perform any peculiar experiments on your own stage. Yeah, sorry. I did examine it, though. I did. I looked at it. I looked at it. Got to look at it again. I will look at it again. Ah, maybe it's this. Glass is broken, so you can't see the bride's face at all. No amount of cracks could hide the woman's plump form. I think powerful would be kinder than plump, Mr. Naruhodo. Yeah, she certainly looks that. There's a lot of horsepower there. Not someone you'd want to upset, that's for sure. Oh, look! Have you noticed her wedding ring? It's very large, isn't it? Yes, that's an unusual design. It looks like some sort of embellished sunflower. I mean, I guess.
Take that!
There it is. Got it. The true nature of the beast that has run rampant here is revealed by that newlywed bride. Precisely, Mr. Naruhodo. No other explanation could possibly fit. I love his little spins! Okay, guys, I have a very important headcanon that I decided after, like, our first time doing this. Herlock Sholmes wears Heelys. I will not be taking constructive criticism at this time. Or ever. He has Heelys. That's how he does his little spins. And he lends Ryunosuke some Heelys, too, when they do this. This little clip-on Heelys. Yes, this framed print pictures your wife, Mr. Garrideb. Please doodle that for me. I absolutely will. And while we lament the fact that her face is obscured, we can still make out her mighty arms and note the considerable horsepower they must contain. Oh, Indeed. Surely any woman of such powerful constitution would be honored to be described as a beast. Honored might be stretching a point. Yeah, a little bit. Too late. The fact remains that the beast, which so clearly savaged this room, was your wife, Mr. Garrideb. The chilling evidence of a wild rampage are still very much in evidence.
Well,
Yet as we look around, the beast in question fails to present itself. Where could this angry creature have disappeared to? Madam?
me?
Pray you do not consider me unchivalrous, but it is plain to me with one glance in your direction.
It is.
Your dress pocket gives him a handsome clue as to the beast's current whereabouts. No, it's gonna be, we have to look at a ring. Poor, fragile, defenseless woman is beside herself. Well, I don't know about fragile. Rude! Oh dear.
Anyway, Mr. Sholmes is quite right. There's no sign of a Miss Garrideb anyway.
But it seems there may be a clue as to her whereabouts. A clue that this maid is trying to hide. I wonder where Mr. Garrideb's wife could be. Right here, perhaps?
Take that!
Your wedding ring gives us a handsome clue as to the beast's current whereabouts.
Ah!
Indeed it does! That flowery band gleaming on your finger gives you away. For it is identical to the one shown on the hand of Mr. Garrideb's bride in this photographic print. In other words, you are no ordinary household maid. No.
You are Mr. Garrideb's lucky bride. You are Mrs. Garrideb herself.
Oh my word!
Gotcha. Wrong game. Well, jolly fine detecting, sir. As you rightly surmise, this is the wife, yes, my Joan. Rather let herself go, you might say, but she was a bally corkerback. Yeah! Don't be rude to your wife, bro. It would appear that you don't live in the most comfortable of circumstances. After all, you're a retired army man, yet you're in the business of renting out rooms. Tch. I would assume, therefore, you have insufficient means to employ a maid. Would that be correct? It's not right, I tell you. I was second lieutenant of the 3rd Regiment. A man has his pride, don't you know? Boy, bully, it's a sorry thing when a chap can't even afford to have a single maid in his employ. Yes, here in London, one is rather judged. A household cannot be considered worthy of society if it employs no staff at all. Though, in my considered opinion, such concerns about appearances are a folly. You mean Mr. Garrideb has his wife work as his maid? Precisely. Am I right, Mr. Garrideb? Only in company, obviously. But listen here. This must remain a secret. Tip-top secret, please. I knew it. He is faking having a maid to be more society. And now the second half. Now, Mr. Garrideb. It is plainly clear that you still have deep feelings for this formidable beast. Indeed, in that blithe pose, the distress this loss has caused you is veritably tangible. Your head weighs heavy on your shoulders, the pain you feel being revealed by that supporting arm. Mr. Sholmes is quite something. He's still calling Mr. Garrideb's wife a beast. Yes, as a woman, that feels rather uncomfortable. But Mrs. Garrideb is still standing beside her husband as we speak. In other words, he hasn't lost his beloved at all, has he? Oh, how true. So perhaps that supporting arm seems to be propping up his head. Has some other significance then. He's got a scar on the side of his face. We've seen little winks of it. I bet it's that. I wonder if it's a burn from having tea spilled on him. Oh no, is he that one guy from Hero Academia? But his wife spilled tea on him? I don't know. I'm blanking. Todoroki. Is he elderly British Todoroki? According to Mr. Sholmes, Mr. Garrideb's pain is tangible, though. What could that pose of his really signify? Let's find out. Oh, it's a slapped cheek.
Take that!
Okay. So not quite a British Todoroki, then. Your head weighs heavy on your shoulders, the pain you feel being revealed by that slapped cheek. God, that's not a slap, that's a fucking grab. And of course, the deliverer of that impressive mark on your cheek that refuses to fade was you, Madame Joan Garrideb.
Well, yes.
You've been desperate to hide the slap mark on your cheek, sir. How the blazes did you work that out, man? Nothing escapes the notice of one trained in the art of observation, my dear fellow. And that's why you haven't looked directly at us even once. To keep your other side from view. Well, Now, let us proceed to the next conundrum. Why were you subjected to such a violent slap? In other words, we must ask ourselves what caused Madame Garrideb to fly into a rage. And we need only follow the direction of your gaze to find the answer. Yes, and this pile of bills that has given rise to the pain you suffer. I mean, I'd believe that. Didn't Mr. Sholmes say that the bills were all for the lion fodder? Yes, but now we've established that the lion never existed. Which can only mean that the thing responsible for gobbling up all that food is Mr. Gyarados' wife.
Mr. Naruhodo, she's a person, not a thing.
Yes, well, she's also a person who gave her husband a mighty slap around the face. One so hard that it left a perfect hand mark, in fact.
Yes. Why would a woman who want to hit her husband with such force, I wonder?
I'd love to know the answer to that question.
Let's find out.
What's this?
Ooh! Ah, someone must be reading this book at the moment. There's a bookmark here too, look. Mr. Gyarados is clearly an avid reader.
Oh, wait a minute. It's okay, you guys, I can read cursive. It says... The Schmigde... Jmingya. From... Jady. I don't think this is a bookmark.
Oh, no, so it isn't. It's a note written in a woman's hand. Oh, James, I love you. Yours, Mary.
And look next to the signature here.
Lip marks made with lipstick. Oh, what a passionate and romantic gesture.
Don't get any ideas, Susato-san.
Oh dear, I'm sorry.
So this bookmark is actually a love note then. Yeah, that's important. Let me just take a little look at that. Kaboom. Yes, it is this love note that has given rise to the pain you suffer. Oh, James, I love you. Yours, Mary. Passionate indeed. Perhaps the sender of this note, a certain Miss Mary, is the fly in the ointment here. Yarg! But I don't know the Bolly woman. You don't know her? And that note wasn't written to me. It was just in the book. I don't know how it got there. It was just in there, you say? But that's right. That's what I've been saying. Ah!
Unlikely story.
Now listen here, Joan, old thing. I explained at the time. I bought that book at the second-hand place, and that note must have already been in there. So the previous owner of the book was using the note as a bookmark, you mean? That's right. That's what I've been saying. Ah!
Unlikely story.
For heaven's sake, woman, look at the time. It's written. Look at the name. It's written to James. My name, in case you've forgotten, is John. Ah!
Unlikely story.
Are you questioning my name now? And there we have it. Arouse the suspicions of the female heart and you unleash a beast with the most ferocious bite. Ugh. Now, in a final fit of rage, the ferocious beast carried out one last unimaginable act.
Unimaginable?
That definitely looks like a burn. Oh, she dropped that's a candle on the floor. That's what that is. The aftermath of which can be clearly seen by observing the carpet over there. Very expensive woolen carpet, if I am not mistaken.
Oh, dearie me.
What could have caused such a destructive outburst?
Ah,
This time, madam, I'm afraid it is you who have inadvertently revealed the truth to me. Your wandering eye has settled upon the answer very neatly indeed. Yes, Tower of Cakes. Not the cakes, it's the candle on the floor. I saw it.
But surely Mrs. Gyarados didn't eat the carpet.
No, of course not. But there doesn't seem to be any doubt that the state of disarray in this room is a result of her wild temper.
No, that's true. So this is the last part of Mr. Sholm's deduction that we need to fix. If we know not only to follow Mrs. Gyarados' gaze, then that will tell us the real answer.
Alright, let's see what we can see.
Yes!
Show me the candle on the floor. The candle on the floor, the candle on the floor. The candle on the floor that's missing from the candelabra.
This looks like a very old candlestick, doesn't it?
The base looks too small. Surely it's very unstable. It looks to me like even the slightest knock would make it topple over.
Oh dear, that would be dangerous.
Wait, take a closer look at this. There's one candle missing.
Yes, I didn't notice that before.
Why is that, I wonder? Why is one candle of the three missing from its holder? It's like it's not letting me click on the candle itself. So I think it's gotta be this.
Take that!
Yeah. Yes, to explain the dire state of the carpet, we need only look at the candlestick. Most illuminating, my dear fellow, and of course the only possible way out of this logical labyrinth. Yes, the remnants of a ferocious attack in which the carpet was devoured are clearly visible. Indeed they are! The scorch marks at the edge clearly give the truth away. Scorch marks? It would appear that this room was the scene of a little marital altercation. Mrs. Garridub's mighty arm muscles left an impression not only on her husband's face, but on the entire room. The force of her strike caused a candle to fall from the holder. And in seconds the carpet was alight and the whole corner of the room was in flames. Yes. For the most ferocious beast in the world is neither a violent lion nor a vengeful woman, but fire. And in this room that ferocious beast bared its claws and ran amok. Eloquently put, my dear fellow. So you see there's but one conclusion here. Boys! Look at them spin on their heelys. After the sparks of a marital discord flew, this room was the scene of a fire. Mr. Sholmes, sir. I salute you! Oh, he's gonna fall over now. Oh, goodbye. Farewell. Aw, she caught him. Get your mans. Catch your mans. Deduction complete. It's dash these long Wednesday nights, you know. Nothing to do but read in front of the fire. Luckily, there's a jolly good second-hand bookshop just around the corner. Buy all my old novels there. And in the pages of one particular novel, you discovered some rather illicit material. For which your wife admonished you harshly, it seems. Don't know about admonished. Demolished might be closer to the actual mark. And the beast is most certainly an apt Ah! Here we go again. And the carpet? Was that destroyed by a fire when the candle fell on the floor? Afraid to say it was. Happened in the blink of an eye, you know. The whole place filled with smoke. Couldn't see a bully thing. I was caught between the old stick's rage and the raging flames. You paint a torrid picture, sir. One that would have been most entertaining. That's sympathy for you. It didn't take long for the fire to spread, of course. The bully furniture started going up as well. I've had to hide the mess behind that screen for the time being. Over here, Mr. Garridub? Well, you have nothing more to hide now, if you'll allow me. What's back there? Burned up bunch of books. Had all my favorite novels in that case. As soon as the fire got a hold of them, that was it. Whoosh! Up in smoke. Gosh. Then the wife started hurling things at me.
What a terrible sight it must have been.
There was I, back up against the window under heavy avenue fire. Incendiary books coming 10 to the dozen. Best of it is I lost my favorite, book called The Lion's Pride. The Lion's Pride. Ah yes, your notorious love of big cats is coming through again. I assure you, the title didn't influence my choice in the slightest. So the poor man really did lose something dear to him as a result of the ferocious beast's rampage.
Mr. Sholmes' deductions turned out to be correct once again.
It can only be described as Great British Wonder. And maybe also not as entirely correct. Had a little bit of help there. All I tell you, it was total carnage. Flames everywhere and the old stick in full fettle. Out of interest, what time of day was that? Not sure I can remember. It was 2 days ago now. Let's see. Around 5 o'clock, I think. at the exact time that your tenant was getting involved in a murder.
So at exactly the same time as a terrifying incident was unfolding outside your window on the street below.
Even more terrifying on the inside, I can assure you. Did you get stabbed? No. Hell or blighty could have been flattened outside my window at that moment, and I wouldn't have noticed a dashed thing.
Oh, really?
Mr. Sholmes? Yes, Mr. Naruhodo, what can I do for you? Well, I think we've got to the bottom of Mr. Garrett's situation now. But what does it have to do with Mr. Natsume's circumstances? Can't help you there, I'm afraid. What? My dear fellow, if you'll recall, I did say as much from the outset. I warned you that, although I knew the retired army man to be hiding something, I could not be sure whether his secret would prove to be of relevance or not. I just knew you were gonna say that. Now, Mr. Naruhodo, you mustn't lose heart. Bear in mind that all things fall into one of only two categories, those relevant to the case and those not. That makes no sense to me. Well, no matter. It is of far greater importance that you make up your mind now. Sorry? Visiting hours at the prison will soon be over. Oh no, is it that time already?
If we're to accept Mr. Natsume's case, we have official paperwork to attend to.
So that's it. No more time to think.
Perhaps you'd like to betake yourselves to bidding farewell now? I must prepare supper for Mr. Garrett.
Yes, I'm so sorry.
Thank you both very much for your time.
Saseki-san will be waiting for us, and I'm gonna have to give him an answer. Let's go! Goodbye for now, Mr. Sholmes. I wonder if he's gonna show up in trial. Oh, this isn't where I meant to go. Yeah, I meant to go to the prison. Oh.
What's the matter?
It looks like something's going on over there in front of the Garrett's house. Oh, I guess it brought me here unwillingly. Who the fuck are you? Who is this jester motherfucker?
I know thee not, old man. Fall to thy prayers.
What is going on here? Who are these guys? Who are you calling an old man, you rum-looking niminy-piminy?
There are more things in heaven and earth, Horatio, that are dreamed of in your philosophy.
Who's this Horatio fellow, eh? What do you want about?
Excuse me.
Eh? What the? Who are you now?
I'm sorry, it just looked as though there might be some problem here. And my associate here, Mr. Ryunosuke Naruhodo, is a lawyer, you see.
Why are we getting involved in this? Eh? A lawyer? What? If I can be of any assistance, I'd be happy to help. I'm from Japan, but I have studied English law. Fine, I'll be on my way for today. You mark my words. This ain't over yet! Get thee to a nunnery! Yeah, it's defo Shakespeare. Do I look like a bloomin' nun to you? Who the fuck is this? Who the fuck is this? Oh no, wait, you know what voice I should give this dude? I should give him my Zephyr voice, cause he's flighty.
I do hope you're not injured.
Oi, faced and maiden, thou art so gentle, thank you. What was all that about? There are more things in heaven and earth, Horatio, that are dreamed of in your philosophy. I'm not Horatio either. I'm doing my best, but I'm also have to give him a British accent because I'm trying to keep it consistent. I don't know. Forgive the inquiry, sir, but are you a lodger here in the Garrett residence? Oh my god. Oh, Fairyston maiden, thou art so right. Yes, I do dwell in this humble abode. And they were roommates. Oh my god, they were roommates. Mr. Garrett had mentioned that he had another lodger, didn't he?
This must be the man. Do you happen to know the other lodger who lives on the first floor? Ah, yes, a gentleman named Natsume? Oh, more worthy a polemist in my battle of words now could there be. Sorry, battle, did you say? Who is the stronger, Hamlet or Macbeth? Mr. Natsume and I sparred long into the night. I see. Is that what they call it these days? Sorry. I don't fully understand, but it seems Mr. Natsume and this gentleman are acquaintances at least. So, fair maiden, so good gentleman. I can tarry here no longer. Fairly well. I didn't really understand him, but I think he's returned to his room. Seems he's unaware of what's happened to Mr. Natsume, so he can't really help us. With Soseki-san and that man as lodgers, the Garrett house is certainly full of eccentrics. Anyway, I'll go and find a carriage. Yes, I'm sure Mr. Natsume is eagerly awaiting our return. Let's hope we can get to the prison before visiting hours are over. Well, that was certainly a something. What's up, my boy? Oh, it's you! You're here! You came! Locum student Mr. Naruhodo Esquire! I can't believe you came back! I'm so touched! We are so sorry to have kept you waiting, Mr. Natsume. Oh, no, think nothing of it. Relax. If I were a cat, I would purr with pleasure at the company of such fine compatriots. Noble, nurturing, never-failing Nipponese! Oh, now, let's not get carried away. Oh, I quite agree. Who is this? There's nothing more reassuring than the familiarity of one's native land. Who is this? On the other hand... Hey! My boy's back! Hi, Shams! It's through friendship transcending international borders that one truly appreciates the fact. Such is my belief at last. Oh, it's... yes, it's you! The miserable, rotten spy! Herlock Sholmes! Mr. Sholmes, what are you doing here? I followed you because I love you. I am like a puppy, you can't get rid of me that easily. I have no intention of doing anything per se, save observing, of course. Whatever do you mean, Mr. Sholmes? Well, having encountered some curious reading material in that gloomful room, and having unmasked the secret identity of that eccentric pair, I decided I should drop in on my way home to see how our divested friend is faring. Gloomful room? At least your accommodation here offers a window, my dear fellow. In that sense, it is the superior option. Anyway, I must commend you on your taste in books. My day has been a delight and cost me not a penny. You! How dare you, Herlock Sholmes! Ugh. I've had it. I'm through. I'm at the end of my rope. I should never have come to Great Britain. It was a terrible mistake. Haunted by spirits in those accursed lodgings, no doubt my luck will be cursed in tomorrow's trial as well. My whole life is bedamned! It'd be better if your life was bedazzled, sir. Someone needs to do the my job is here done. My job here is done meme with Sholmes. Yes, I've been thinking about that for days. What are you thinking, Mr. Naruhodo? He mentioned that once before, didn't he? That his lodgings were cursed, I mean. Because there's a weird Shakespeare in them now, I guess. And there is much truth to Mr. Mustache's words. What? Cursed is a wholly appropriate description, I would say. For the man's lodgings, and indeed for tomorrow's trial. What's that supposed to mean? Mr. Natsume, what did you mean by what you just said just now? About the trial tomorrow being cursed? Oh no, why are you looking so grave? You're making me nervous. I was just getting carried away, that's all. I didn't mean anything by it. Oh, I see. That's really agitated him. You don't mean the trial really is cursed somehow? He's so cute. I love him. Not a single brain cell in there, though. Are you referring to the prosecutor? The Reaper of the Bailey? The Reaper? Oh no, what do you mean? Please tell me. Summarize it succinctly in 16 salient words. No defendant has ever survived a trial in which the Reaper stands for the prosecution. Ever. Oh my goodness, can it really be true? That was 16 words exactly! Yesterday, Mr. Naruhodo successfully defended someone against the Reaper. But then, after the trial was over, the defendant passed away in unusual circumstances. And Mr. McGill did. What? I am impressed, Miss Susato. You have an eye for detail. Actually, the Lord Chief Justice told us. Mr. Sholmes, surely it can't be that having failed to have the accused convicted, Lord Van Zeeks killed the man himself. Oh no, he couldn't have, surely. You have some wonderful notions. Sorry? The man isn't a mass murderer, he's a court prosecutor, my dear fellow. Oh, yes, why of course he is. Of course he is! Then why are you two trying to scare me? It could be said, however, that the real truth about the man is even more terrifying than your hypothesis. What on earth do you mean by that? Van Zeeks is quite an exceptional man. However, in London courts of law, exceptional does not equate to winning every case without exception. That's good. Saseki-san looks like he's gonna cry tears of joy. As you are no doubt aware, in a British criminal trial, there is both a judge and a jury. The judge officiates based on the letter of the law, whilst the jury offers public opinion and common sense. It is an excellent system, whereby the defendant's guilt is considered from several points of view. However, public opinion in particular is somewhat easily manipulated. Right. Criminals and corrupt lawyers, for that matter, can use it to their advantage, by any means at their disposal, contriving evidence, calling imposters as witnesses, and so on. By such underhand means, those who would want to are able to sway the jury, which means that even in the light of irrefutable evidence, the prosecution can fail. But it means the wrong verdict can be passed. And sadly is from time to time, my dear madam. It is simply the reality of the situation. And that's alright. However, those indicted by Lord Van Zeeks cannot escape justice. Their fate is sealed. Oh my. Through the education may see them leave the courtroom with their freedom. Within months, they all disappear. It's most striking. Disappear? But how? By all manner of misfortune, sir. Perhaps they are trampled under a passing carriage, perhaps they fall into the Thames and drown, perhaps they are suddenly overcome by a raging fever, or perhaps attacked by highwaymen. I'm the highwayman. Oh, no, no, no. All examples of the reality of events are here in London, I'm afraid, Mr. Naruhodo. Everybody's looking at me. I knew it. I'm a dead dodo done for, doomed! Rip. When you said accursed lodgings before, you were referring to your room at Mr. Garrett's house, I assume? Do you mean to say you believe the place is cursed? I vibe with this man and his raging anxiety. It has been a year now since I came to Great Britain, but I'd only been in London a week before I started to notice strange feelings in myself. Oh? Strange and unnecessary feelings, you might say? Ace Attorney reference! From the original game, don't mind me. That didn't take long then. Everywhere I looked, there were foreign faces staring at me, laughing behind my back. I was sure people were talking about me. I started to become nervous about going outside. They were always staring at me all the time, from dawn till dusk. I'm gonna drive over there for that. Do it! Get over here! I dare you! So I shut myself away in my room, but even that didn't help. The fear wouldn't go away. It's a joke from the first Ace Attorney game, don't worry about it. It's a very, gay joke. Anyway, I'm saddled with these unnecessary feelings.
You must have been very lonely having been away from your homeland for such a long time.
I've had to move a number of times, most recently to that room on Briar Road a week ago now. Yes, why did you choose there? It seems a little inconvenient. The rent is cheap. I have so little money it appealed to me straight away. Of course, I asked why it was so affordable, and the landlord just simpered and said, "The room is cursed. Oops." He quickly tried to cover his mistake, but it was too late, so I told him, "If you have something to say, then say it, but if not, don't mention it in the first place." Yes, well said. But it was true. It was all true. You mean the room really is cursed then? Ever since I moved into that windowless hellhole. My sleep has been plagued with nightmares. I awake feeling as though I'm being choked to death. And in my waking hours, people are stabbed in front of me as I walk down the street. I'm a branded killer, thrown in prison. Nobody wants to know me. I'm surrounded by scary, sinister spirits. If only there was someone, just one person on my side. Can no one find it in his or her heart to believe in me? Really no one at all? To believe. Yes, to believe. Mr. Sholmes? Ah, me, Mr. Naruhodo. Pray, what can I do for you? It's about the case on the SS Burya, if you recall. The Burya. Ah, that case. The one with the snake. I mean, technically, yes. Well, yes. At the time, I was a suspect, but you believed in me and listened to my side of the story. And you helped us to investigate. I did, didn't I? Interesting. What I want to know is, why? Why did you believe me? I see, yes. You mean... because you were a grimly dressed, shady Eastern fellow I found with the victim in a locked room? Well, if you like, yes. I'm a little surprised that the answer requires explanation, my dear fellow. It's quite simple, really. You said, I didn't do it. But I could have been lying. Surely you must have had your doubts. You must have suspected me a little. I think perhaps you have misunderstood. I neither recall believing in you, nor in that which you were telling me. What? You see, the only things I believe in are those I choose to believe in. What? What do you mean, Mr. Sholmes? I make up my own mind about what is to be believed and what is not. If I should like to believe in something, I do. The circumstances can hang as far as I'm concerned. But I could have betrayed your trust. In that case, I should have made an elementary error of judgment, nothing more. Betrayal of trust is an overused excuse, in my opinion. Meaning? Whether or not one should trust another is, in the final analysis, down to oneself. It is a matter of whether or not one can trust oneself. Yes, yes, he's right! He's right, locum student Mr. Naruhodo Esquire! Whether or not I can believe myself. Oh, hi, Kazuma! A defense lawyer is only as good as his faith in his client. And that comes down to how much faith he has in himself. Boyfriend! You were so right, Kazuma. Well, my dear fellows, it is time we were leaving, I believe.
Already?
Visiting hours are over. The guard will be here shortly to escort us out. There's a restaurant near here that serves excellent trout. Would you care to join me? Yeah, Soseki, you can't come.
Oh dear, there's never enough time, is there?
Mr. Natsume, if you'd like, in the trial tomorrow, I'd be happy to represent you. Locum student Mr. Naruhodo Esquire. As I said, I only experienced a British courtroom for the first time yesterday. And although the man I was representing was found not guilty, I lost sight of something crucial. Something crucial? What to believe in? The defendant, justice, or the truth? How to believe, even. But I think I finally worked it out. And I've decided that I must believe in myself above all else. To trust my instincts. Yes, Mr. Naruhodo. And my instincts are telling me that you, Mr. Natsume, are innocent of this crime. And it's imperative that we prove that in court. Locum student Mr. Naruhodo Esquire. I will fight for your innocence until the bitter end, with every weapon available to me. So I hope you'll permit me to represent you tomorrow. As I said when we first met, I'd like to entrust my fate to someone who will listen to me in my native tongue. Of course, Mr. Natsume. It would be fair to say, Mr. Naruhodo, that your mind was in many ways made up from the outset. You merely needed the events of today to fully realize it. Yes, I think you're right about that. It's been a roundabout journey, but I got there in the end. Mrs. Otto? Yes? Would you be willing to stand by my side tomorrow and help me in court? Absolutely. As I said this morning, you may consider me your personal judicial assistant. The shocking events of yesterday's trial still weigh heavily on my mind. But it's time to start looking backwards. Kazuma believed in me, and Mr. Sholmes believes in me now too. So it's time. Time that I learned to believe in myself. Soseki-san has no one. He's all alone, so it's my job to help him, to fight his corner. Tomorrow, in the courtroom, with all the strength I can muster. And that, I believe, is going to be a to be continued. Yup. And I think that is perfect timing. I think that's where we are going to call it tonight. Good stream, everybody. Yeehaw. Alright, I don't want to kit away from save complete because it will probably continue. So, we will be continuing this on Friday. Same time, same place, more Ace Attorney. Let's find out what the truth is. Alright. So, let's find somebody to raid. Who is streaming? Who is streaming? Oh, shoot. Nobody I follow is streaming right now. Huh. Well, shit. We have to find somebody new then. Ba-choo. Does anybody okay, I'll go ahead and ask this. Nobody I follow is streaming right now. Does anybody have... I'd love to raid an art channel. Or someone else playing this game who is not as far as we are. Oh, Jesus. I just turned on my own stream because I was going to go to Twitch, and I heard my own voice. That was scary. But yeah, if anybody has, knows anyone who is streaming right now and has any recommendations, otherwise, I'm just going to go into the art tag and see who I can find. Let's see. Let's find someone to raid. Shall we? Let's find someone doing comics, maybe, perhaps? Because that's fun. Yes, I am ready for more Sholmes on Friday. Okay. Trying to find someone to raid. Trying to find someone to raid. Trying to find someone to raid. Yay. Let me see, let me see, let me see. Oh, brother is home. Hey. I'm streaming, but we're about to be over. I'm trying to find somebody to send people to. Okay. Do you have anything you want to say during this awkward silence, dear brother? Nope. Nope? Okay. Oh, this art style's cute. Who are you? Here, I'm going to turn my desktop audio off so that you guys don't hear, like, me watching the person streaming, because that might be awkward. I don't know. Chat says hi. Just for the record. Ads. Anyway, while this ad is going... Oh, there we go. Oh, this person's art style is really cute. Let's raid them. Okay. Okay, I have found someone to raid. Their art style is cute. Let's do it. Alrighty. So, I'm going to activate the raid. Are you just going to stand there staring at me in my doorway with a cat in your arms?
Nope.
Okay. Alright, let's go! Okay, so we are raiding somebody called Akaiji Margo channel. They're a VTuber. Their art looks very cute. So we're going to raid them because it's cute and I like it. Probably going to go follow them after this. Anyway, so thank you guys for hanging out for more Ace Attorney Times. Like I said, we will be continuing on Friday. And then on Wednesday, same time, I will be doing an art stream. I'm going to be working on my comic some. So, last bit of shilling. If you are not already following the channel, make sure you do that so you get notifications. You can also follow me on Twitter and join my Discord. And that will help you see stream notifications. The Discord is mostly for discussion of my webcomic, but it's a pretty chill time. You can come hang out there, and I do have a stream chat discussion channel. Also, speaking of, read my freaking webcomic. Yeehaw. And I think that's it. Oh, I am almost certainly going to be doing some Sholmes merch in the future, so you can join my newsletter to see when that goes up. Because I need my mans in my life. Alright, I'm going to go ahead and activate the raid now. I will see you guys on the other side. See you later. Bye!